All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you all for coming tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
I will, and if I could just remind everyone to please turn the ringers off on your cell phones. We had a few disturbances in the last meeting. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iacilli. Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Schivoni.
Present.
Well, before we move forward with the rest of the agenda, I'd like to say that we have some youth volunteers with us tonight, a little special program that we're giving some certificates. Very proud of all these students. They've donated their time for community service, which is so important to give back, and for an important cause like our Youth Bureau under the leadership of Tracy Colson. And, the Youth Bureau provides such a variety of services and programs for our youth. It's wonderful, and I'm glad that these youth were able to support it. So I think, there's Tracy. Tracy's going to come up and tell us a little bit about the certificates and what the youth have done.
Actually, if I could ask for our senior volunteers to come on up here and over here. Great. So, before we recognize our young men and women who volunteer their time, effort, and sometimes their physical might to help their neighbors in the town, I just want to review, what the Youth Bureau is and what our real mission is. So the Youth Bureau is tasked with identifying gaps and obstacles that keep our young people from achieving their goals in today's world. And we know there are many obstacles, of course. Coping with stress, mental health, addiction, financial income limitations, lack of public transportation, and many more obstacles that limit their ability to achieve what is possible. The Youth Bureau is here to help overcome those hurdles through programs and services we offer, such as our Youth in Government program, our Teen Views journalism program, our Youth Corps program, our Youth Advisory Committee. In addition to our counseling and clinical services that we offer as well, we also offer after-school programming for elementary youth at our Flanders Community Center and assist SYS with a Kids Club program in Southampton. So all of these programs build skill and resiliency in those who take part. We're fortunate to offer these programs, but they're only opportunities. And it's really up to these individuals to put their time in to take advantage of that. So today we're here to celebrate those students who have been with us for some time. Whether they're here volunteering us when some of them started in 7th grade, and that gave us about 6 years to really work with these individuals, or others who hopped on later after discovering the Youth Bureau, worked a year or two. But their commitment is worthy of acknowledgement. Well, since it's the end of the school year, it's always difficult also to get everybody together. I believe West Hampton has a prom tonight, and some of the youth already started their summer work schedules. But we do have a sample here who are representing our other peers. As with all our programs, we always are putting our students first and giving them a voice. With that tradition, I'd like to turn the mic over to Victoria Madison. And in addition to graduating early from the Hampton-based high school this year, a year early, she also has an average of 100.87, and she's also been a major influence on her peers and becoming involved in many projects in and out of school, in addition to being the chair of the Youth Bureau's Youth Advisory Committee. So she's over the course of her working with the Youth Bureau, she's accumulated 94 hours of community service for helping other residents here in Southampton.
It's an absolute honor to stand before you today and share my remarkable journey as the Youth Advisory Committee Chair. This committee consists of students grades 7 through 12 that meets every other Tuesday. With a shared vision to improve the Southampton community, the members engage in dedicated service projects, build meaningful connections, and receive an education on important topics that shape our lives. Over the past year, we've embarked on numerous community service events that have brought joy to our town and strengthened our bond. Our May the 4th Pancake Breakfast was a delightful event that brought families together, celebrating a beloved theme while raising funds for future projects. Extreme Rec Day at SYS was another highlight, where children from kindergarten to 6th grade enjoyed fun activities, creating memories that will last a lifetime. We also had the privilege of helping our elderly neighbors by raking leaves in the fall. This simple yet impactful gesture was met with heartfelt gratitude, and our open mic nights provided a platform for young talent to shine, fostering a sense of community and support among peers. And who could forget our interactive movie night? It was a fantastic evening where we combined entertainment with interaction, making it a truly memorable experience for all attendees. Community service is more than just giving back. It's about building a stronger, more connected community. It teaches us empathy, responsibility, and the power of collective effort. As the chair, leading such a dedicated and passionate group of young individuals has been a privilege. Together, we have demonstrated that age is no barrier to making a significant impact. One of the most rewarding aspects of my role was representing our committee in Albany. There, I had the chance to speak about prominent youth issues with Senator Palumbo and Assemblyman Thiel. These discussions were crucial in highlighting the concerns and aspirations of our generation, and I am grateful for their attention and commitment to our cause. Reflecting on my time as chair, I am filled with immense pride and gratitude. The support from the Southampton Youth Bureau has been invaluable, and I extend my deepest thanks to them and everyone who has made our events possible. Your guidance, resources, and encouragement have been the backbone of our success. Looking ahead, I am committed to continuing the emphasis on community service. I believe that nurturing the spirit of giving and involvement can inspire future generations to carry this torch and make an even greater impact. Thank you all for this incredible journey. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as the chair of the Youth Advisory Committee, and I look forward to seeing the continued positive changes we will bring to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I mind you, I've asked Victoria probably about an hour ago if there was something she wanted to say. So,
Yeah.
So actually, I'm going to
Was
read
it
the
GPA 100.1?
No.
100.877.
Wow.
So I'm going to read. So the Town of Southampton Certificate of Recognition presented to Victoria Madison in special recognition of many hours of community service with the Southampton Town Youth Bureau. By this certificate of recognition, the town board hereby applauds you for participating in the Youth Bureau's important programs, and in so doing, acknowledges the time and commitment you have given in helping others through service projects, educational activities, and advocating for your peers. For all this and more, we offer our sincerest thanks and best wishes in your future endeavors. In witness of the town, and witness thereof, and hereunto set our hands and the town board sign that.
Thank you.
Okay. So we actually have a kind of like an internal joke in the Youth Bureau. Once you join the Youth Bureau, you can never get out of the Youth Bureau. So even if you participate, you wind up coming back to us. And, you know, I'm proud to say that we've had participants in our programs who've actually stayed with the Youth Bureau, got hired with the Youth Bureau, and actually one now is our assistant director. In addition to that, you know, again, we're always here to work and always happy to see that. So Sophia Solano is now a college student, and you're going into your second year at college. So she was our Youth Advisory Committee chair last year, and I also wanted to acknowledge her community service as well. And Sophia, I believe you actually, in the time that you've been with the Youth Bureau, you completed 77 hours of community service, you know, throughout your years here. So congratulations. Okay. Now Samantha Craycar, Sam. So Sam was also, she didn't get to participate a lot because it's her senior year, and also being salutatory for Hampton Bays High School, she had a lot on her this year. But Sam did do a lot of community service, and you know, we really appreciated all of that. So. Okay. And Brian as well, has been part of the Youth Bureau's Youth Advisory Committee, participating in all of the community service projects. So thank you for thank you for your time, and thank you to the board.
Could we get a picture with everyone?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Suck it in. Nah, it's all right. I'll let you guys.
It's like how we have position.
Yeah, one of the days. That's nice.
We're going this way. We're going this way. Have them stand in front of us. Angle this way.
So that's where I'm going. College. Okay.
And you guys are not expected to stay
everyone.
for the whole meeting. If you want to leave, please feel free to do so.
Oh, no
You're not trapped.
community obligation. Unlike your children.
Thank you, Tracy.
Sweet.
No, Frank.
Yeah, let's do Frank.
You just got here.
Oh, good. Well, I'd also like to, we have a special treat too, like to take a resolution. I need motion to take resolution 2024-826 out of order, please.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this resolution is to regrettably accept the resignation of Francis Zipone, Deputy Supervisor in the Supervisor's Office.
Second.
Just a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, and
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear who was voting.
We all said aye.
Also aye.
Who seconded it?
Who was
I
the
seconded.
You seconded, okay, thank you.
I'm grateful to have worked with Frank. Is Frank in the room with us?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
Here.
Good,
Hi.
thank you. For the last 6 months, he's so very knowledgeable and good at juggling everyday responsibilities along with special projects, and all the while staying composed and professional, always a gentleman. And in thanks for his dedication to the town, I'd like to present him with this proclamation on behalf of the board. And it's, oh my God.
We must be boring.
I'm not allowed to be in the kitchen.
Okay.
Isolated.
All right. You know, I wouldn't ordinarily read all of this, but it's so. But so there's such
And
a
this
lot
is why
of-
Frank is going to miss us so much.
Why don't you come on up, Frank, and we'll.
Mary, you want to get to the podium?
Oh yeah, I guess we should go over by the podium.
Yes, so everyone can hear you.
I do want to read this because it has such
Yeah,
a
this will be a front
beautiful
page selling the press.
history. Service to one's community is central to the American character and fundamental expression of responsible citizenship. It's a spirit exemplified by the employees of the town of Southampton, a place that is every day enriched by the efforts of special individuals who labor together for a common good. Whereas among these individuals is Southampton Town Deputy Supervisor Francis Zipone, who has served in that capacity for the past 14 years. The Shinnecock Hills resident, also known affectionately as Frank, has devoted his entire professional life to community service. He's previously earned a reputation for being an effective school administrator in some of the state's highest performing districts and was a sought-after consultant for Apple, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and others. Across several careers in both the public and private sector, Frank has developed considerable expertise in municipal finance, project management, organizational planning, emergency management, sustainability, public safety, economic development, and legislative implementation. And I've seen him do it all here. And whereas from 1999 to 2003, Frank was the principal of Lakeland Copper Beach Middle School in Lakeland Central School District. After his retirement and moving to his family's summer home full-time, Frank became an active participant in the civic affairs of Southampton town. He was soon appointed to the Southampton Tuckahoe Shinnecock Hills Citizen Advisory Committee and served as its chairman from 2006 through 2009. Soon after the election of Town Supervisor Anna Throne-Holst in November 2009, Frank was sworn in as her deputy supervisor on January 1st, 2010. During the two subsequent administrations, those of Supervisor Jay Schneiderman and my administration, Frank fulfilled the supervisor's official duties in their absence, chaired committees, oversaw special projects, resolved countless disputes, attended innumerable meetings, and served as master of ceremonies for every official function. He is particularly admired for his thoughtfulness, diplomacy, and skillful navigation of town's policies, procedures, and personnel. Having prioritized public outreach and increasing the efficiency and economy of town operations, Frank is the chief architect of the Citizens Response Center, which opened on January 9th, 2012. He also served as administrative head of the Office of Public Information, which includes the town's public and government access television channels. Their combined efforts provide the public with faster, easier access to local government and important information about the town. So whereas in fitting tribute, colleagues have chosen to honor Frank with celebratory festivities and to publicly thank him for his dedication, professionalism, and friendship over the years. With his retirement, he will be much missed, but this milestone occasion offers not only more time with family and friends, but for all his favorite pursuits. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of Southampton Town hereby joins with a grateful community in presenting this proclamation to you, Frank.
Frank, thank you. You forgot one thing about your sailboat.
It's on the list.
On the list.
Frank, I'm gonna give
Also true. Would you favor us with a few words, Frank?
Okay. Well, first, for those of you who work in town hall, you'll know that a lot of these proclamations, if not all of them, are composed by Ryan Horn. And I want to particularly thank Ryan for making up all those things about me. You did a nice job. The plagiarism police are downstairs waiting for you. Just briefly, earlier today the staff had a little coffee and cake, which is tradition here to celebrate this event. But I got a copy of the invitation, and at the bottom it says, "Thank you for your years of dedicated service to the town." Well, that's a very sweet and appreciated sentiment. But the truth is, I should thank all of you and all of you for giving me the opportunity to be of service to the town. And it is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
We're grateful for you, Frank.
Absolutely. Frank, 15 years of professionalism. You provided continuity in the town.
Mm-hmm.
I greatly appreciate an effective administrator. I was a teacher for 30 years. I served on a school board, and I know what you have done for the town. One of the things that you have done for the town is actually steered us to a AAA bond rating in that time. So I want to thank you for your leadership behind the scenes in the town, and well done, my friend. Thank you.
I just want to say, Frank, I've gone toe to toe with you from that side of the table, and I didn't truly appreciate what you did until I got on this side of the table. And just it has to be said that you are just the voice of reason, and always so calm and collected, and you can keep everybody on task. And I don't think I've ever heard you raise your voice, even when situations have called for it,
Which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, you're just a very unique person, and that you're just so calm and collected, and it's really appreciated, and really, really professional the way you carry yourself. And I truly appreciate working with you for the short amount of time that I did.
And Frank, I hope you find that blue sailboat what you had at Lobster Inn many years ago when I first met you, because it's looking for you. So you can go out there and relax.
Many days of sailing ahead. Oh, and Michael would like to say something.
Do you all hear me?
Yes.
Well, I'll just say really briefly that, Frank, you've been a great asset to this town. When I came into office, you were always very helpful and treated me like I've been here forever, and that we've been working together for a long time. And I really appreciate that. You are a wealth of knowledge, and you will be missed. Thank you so much for all you have done.
Thank you.
It's been an incredible team in the supervisor's office with Jackie O'Neill and Janice Wilson and you, and really helped me with an easy transition into this space.
Yeah.
So thank you all.
That's what's so important, to have somebody, consummate professional like yourself, Frank, to carry over from one administration to another administration to another administration.
Mm-hmm.
Towns just don't have that. They don't experience that. And you made it such an incredible tribute for you and for the residents of the town. It's such a wonderful thing to have somebody like you that was there for each administration.
So this is your third retirement, you said earlier today. So,
Hope this time I get it right.
well, I hope you enjoy every minute of it.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's
Get to work.
continue with the meeting. Yes, I move to approve the minutes of the regular town board meeting of June 3rd. June 11th, 2024.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
We received the following communications in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the Village of West Hampton Beach Zoning Board of Appeals applications for 77 Library Avenue and 85 Dune Road. New York State liquor license 30-day advance notice to local municipality, class change for 270 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, and new applications for 1 West Main Street, Hampton Bays, and 1152 Montauk Highway, Watermill. Annual statement of financial disclosure filings were listed, filed by the listed individuals. And we have received emails, letters, and petitions regarding the following topics: Canals Southampton Battery Storage Exemption Hearing, change of zone application entitled Liberty Gardens Southampton, Spionk Community Park at 178 Old Country Road, Spionk, the Hampton Bays Alliance Community Group, Traffic Trade Parade on Henry Road in Southampton, and Town Law 200 request for Sun Valley Road and Sun Court, Hampton Bays. The following bid and request for proposals were opened on Wednesday, June 20th, 2024, for the Bel Air Cove Motel asbestos abatement and demolition from the Community Preservation Department, and for the Cobb Road shoreline stabilization from the Highway Department. And we received one report from the Town Comptroller's Office from the Naraki Smith Independent Accountants Report for 2023, and that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. I have 3 walk-ons resolutions. The first is Town Board Resolution ID number 46796 to authorize town facilities to close to the public on July 5th, 2024. The second is Town Board Resolution ID number 46805 for the warrant number 12. And the third is Town Board Resolution ID number 46808, to notice a public hearing to consider extending the Southampton Town Code, Chapter 314, entitled Moratorium on the Battery Energy Storage Systems by amending Section 314-4, entitled Moratorium Period, to extend for another 6-month period. I move to add these 3 walk-ons to the
Second.
agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1 for applicants seeking an exemption from Town Code, Chapter 314, entitled Moratorium on Battery Energy Storage Systems pursuant to subsection 314-6, entitled Applications That May Be Exempted.
Good evening, Supervisor, members of the board. I believe the applicant's attorney is on Zoom and is going to, can you hear me now? I just said good evening, but the applicant's attorney is going to be making a request for an adjournment, and they're going to be on Zoom, so I just wanted to let you know that. So if Kevin can let them in.
Whoa, what just happened? You need to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. How's everybody?
Very well, thank you.
Good, thank you. Steve Usher, Harris Movement Officer, representing the Canal Southampton. So we had sent in, I believe, 2 letters requesting adjournment of the exemption hearing to August 13th, the August 15th. We hadn't heard anything back, so we thought that we would reiterate the request at this meeting. I did have a conversation with Christine, and she recommended that we appear tonight and reiterate.
Somebody wants to call there from your office.
And we intend to have the hearing on August 13th. You know, what happened was that the May 28th hearing, we had gotten notice of it 2 days or so before the posting and mailing was required, and there just wasn't enough time, unfortunately, to do it. So we asked that it be adjourned to this hearing date. Unfortunately, things happened, and that's what's in all letter. We weren't able to get all the people together that we needed to for it, but we were going to do it for sure. To the August 13th hearing, assuming the board agrees.
Okay, so you're asking for an adjournment of the public hearing that we scheduled at your request for an exemption?
Yeah.
And I think it's our understanding it wasn't properly noticed.
Correct. It was not, neither time was it properly notified, notification was not made properly
Not on our
either
part.
time. Not on our part, by the applicant.
Correct.
So then, would we be able to, Christine, go forward with the public hearing tonight anyway?
No,
then?
jurisdictionally, as a legal matter, we don't have the ability to open the hearing. It would be people, if they testified, it would not be on the record. So there's no hearing to open at this point. So the choices would be either you do an adjournment or you remove it from the calendar and they can come back when they are ready to proceed. But that's up to the board.
Council, we adjourned this to a date that they requested, and then they didn't notice. So by default, can they continue to basically hold? I mean, Mr. Archer can't see it, but there's a room full of people here to speak tonight on this public hearing that we can't open because they didn't notice it.
Right.
So I am not comfortable with them saying, well, we're actually going to notice it this time. Can we withdraw it from the calendar and have them reapply when they're ready to go forward?
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion would be that you in fact do that. Just remove it from the calendar. We can mark it as closed, and then when they're ready to proceed, they can come back and do that, so they're not holding everybody hostage to every time that this is on and coming down here. But that's up to, I mean, that's the board's prerogative if they choose to do that or do the
I agree with Cindy.
adjournment.
That we should put it to sleep.
We had provided ample notice of our request the adjournment.
But just to be clear, Keith, to be clear though, you didn't, but you, but you didn't provide notice to the public. That's the notice we're talking about.
So, but we understood that the town was letting the appropriate civic associations and the like know that the applicant.
Well, we couldn't take that risk.
Correct. We did not know what would be happening this evening, and that's why I asked you to appear here.
I am.
And I also wouldn't support putting it on for an afternoon meeting when people have to work. They've now given up 2 evenings to be here.
All right, then put it on to the next meeting.
You want to put it on for the end of August then with a drop dead date. That's it.
August 28th, and then if they don't notice again, we withdraw it?
Yeah, you're entitled to do that. Sure.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, yeah, that'll be the evening meeting, August 27th, or is it the 27th?
Keith, are you committing to having your people here at that evening meeting?
Commit or withdraw.
And I just want to let the public know that
27th.
while I'm upset that you're here tonight to speak and we're not going to have a public hearing, I also don't want you to speak and have it not be on the public hearing record, and then also give the applicant the time to reiterate or refute anything that you say. I'd rather hear it all in the same night, and you make your point and they can make their points.
You're better off waiting.
There's a question.
There's new people on the board. Maybe you can let 2 or 3 people speak, just so that they have an idea of what we're against.
Oh, they've been following it very closely, and we're in the midst of a moratorium, and we're actively discussing the reasoning behind that moratorium and what our goals are, and they're very well versed in why we have this moratorium and what they're asking us for an
I've been
exemption
following
from.
this for a long, long time before I was even elected. You have to come up.
I have a question for council before we get to the public. We're still on the record,
No,
right?
There's no
Right.
record.
There's no public
Right,
hearing.
so, okay, so this is a public record. Mr. Archer, would you explain why you are not prepared, or your client is not prepared to present tonight, since, as Councilwoman McNamara said, you had requested this evening? So, give us, thank you.
Unfortunately, one or more of our team members, something could come up, they weren't available tonight. And yes, we had requested this evening, but unfortunately life happens. So.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, appreciate it.
So, Cindy, do you want to take it off the calendar or just adjourn?
Just adjourn it till the 27th, and then if they're not, then we take it off.
Yeah, I think one more time. They're going to withdraw.
Everybody's good with that? All right, so,
So it appears as though they'll move to adjourn it. Keith, please make sure that you have complied with all the notification requirements.
And this will be your last
If they wanna
time.
speak.
yeah, so we will hold it will not hold it
You
open.
just adjourn it to-
until
yeah.
August 27th, 6 p.m.
Thank you very much.
Point of
All
order,
right,
if I
thank
may.
you.
Does the board have another option than to put it over?
Withdraw it and have them reapply and ask for that date anyway.
Why isn't that an option that you're discussing?
We just did. We just decided to give them one more option, one more time on another evening meeting, and if they, at that time, they're not ready to proceed, we'll withdraw it.
Why don't you give them all the time they need to be ready?
They're telling us that they will be ready on the 27th, and if they're not at that time,
It's either.
3 strikes, you're out, I guess.
What happens if they don't show up the next
You have to.
time?
Then we mark it off the
We mark it
calendar.
off the calendar.
You
Why
can't.
don't you do that now?
They're still in, just to be clear, sir,
We've been here twice, we've been
You
here
gotta
2 days.
stop.
sir,
I know.
they can come back though, even if we mark it off the calendar,
Yeah.
because it's a right that they have to request it, we're obligated to have the hearing.
Yeah, I
So,
understand that.
okay, so it has to happen one way or the other if they're requesting it.
It'll eventually happen, yes.
Council, I have a question.
Or not.
Yes, Michael? Which council?
You.
Okay.
Legislative Council. I just had a quick question about whether or not this postponement affects the moratorium at all in any way.
No.
I don't believe it will because, in fact, you've walked on a resolution to extend the moratorium, which I have every reason to believe the board is going to support, so no, it will not.
There'll be a public hearing on July 9th on that.
So the moratorium will be extended prior to this hearing
I'll have a hearing on that.
on that extension.
Why a 2-month extension and not an extension until the next meeting, a month from now?
Because I don't want to do an afternoon meeting because I know there's people here that work and they would have to take off of work.
July 9th, then there's another meeting like
The 23rd.
23rd of July. Is that correct?
Well, they're requesting what, August?
They're requesting.
They were requesting the afternoon meeting in August. I mean, if you guys want, I'm fine with
We'll
that.
just push it
We
to
just
the
talked about
meeting
giving them
in
more
July.
time.
As long as that night.
I just assume you guys have your summer. We'll come back to this in August, the end of August. I mean, we can do what we're gonna do, because I'm fine with August 27th, and that
You
gives them
should be able
2
to come
months.
up here because we
Yeah,
can't hear you.
so
from
that's
there.
what we're just gonna do, you know. And
That
if
gives
they
them 2
don't
months, and
come
if they don't,
back,
if they're not ready
then-
by then.
I just want to thank everybody that has come tonight. You guys are the best people I've ever seen in my life, and we've taken attendance tonight. I'm gonna take a picture of this audience. We have done our job. We have come, we show up, we're here. We're trying to work with you, we're trying to get this resolved, and it drags on. And it's just dragging on. And so thank you, everybody. You are fabulous people. And do we have to stay here
No.
for the walk-in piece?
No.
No.
Okay.
There was 4, we all agreed to walk it on, so.
Yeah, the AC is not too good in here tonight.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
with
Bridget.
respect to the best, I mean, we've been have several meetings so far. It's going well. I think, we won't need the whole 6 months, but because we're coming up on the end of the moratorium period, we just want to extend
don't
it
wanna
to give
rush.
us a little bit more time
Yeah.
to put everything in place.
Yeah, we had our speeches tonight. We all had Yeah.
Okay, so
We're gonna have to do public portion. We gotta.
so that's the resolution.
I just wanted to say thank you to the board. Thank you for appointing the best steering committee. They're doing a wonderful job, and that's the way that this thing should have been pursued in the first place. Rather than entertaining a speculative bid by the people in Singapore, you have done it in the interest of the people of Southampton, and particularly protecting the rights of the people of Hampton Bays. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So we're gonna let people speak. What's going on?
All right, since you're all here.
What's happening?
I mean,
Having a hearing or not?
There's no, we're not taking names, we're not putting down names, we're not, there's no record.
they're not gonna, this isn't the public
okay.
hearing.
That's okay. Property improvements that.
Hold on, this is the chair of the meeting
were
here.
Supposed to be done a year ago. Property improvements that were supposed to be done a year ago have not been done. They've been held up because of this delay. The delay is unconscionable. The fact that this gentleman started this in March and we're now putting it off till August, besides ridiculous. Aside from that, you just said that you're putting on the agenda extending the moratorium for another 6 months. Are we crazy? Can't we make something happen? We thank you for all the work that you've done, but shouldn't somebody say, we apologize? Somebody should say to the community, we pushed this out too long, too far. We didn't respect you the way we should have. We honored the applicant, we didn't honor you. Just say you're sorry for once.
I
Thank you.
apologize, but
Thank you.
wait, I'm not done yet. I came in January. The previous board and administration started this. And I came in here, I got elected to finish this job and finish a couple other things. And I wish we could finish it off tonight, just like Cindy wanted to finish it off tonight. But the lawyer said, no, we can't do it. We have to wait and do it by the right time in August or in July, next night meeting. I'm ready there to vote on it and finish it. So the people of Southampton, the people of Hampton Bays, do not have to come down here, can sleep nicely.
Thank you. That's all we ask for.
I'm for you.
A definitive statement of when
I'm
it's
just as
going to end.
aggravated as you are about this whole thing.
You're not, as what?
Aggravated just as much as you are about this whole thing.
I bet you're not, because I live I live 500 feet away from that place, my friend.
No.
500
I
feet
realize
away.
that.
My wife
You came
has
in before. I
multiple
realize
sclerosis
come-
and she can't walk.
Yeah. You came
So
in
because
here
she
and
can't
spoke.
walk, if anything were to happen there, we're in
Yes.
big trouble.
Yes,
So end this thing and end it this year, please.
it will be.
If you watch the meetings that we've had on the steering committee, you'll see that we're making very good progress and working through changes to the code that has to be done. We have to do it
The
methodically.
last code we had
getting
was
it done.
the
It's
last code
taking-
we happened very quickly, and we are now taking our time and doing it correctly.
You're taking a lot of time.
And that's
Well,
the way it should
what
be.
is the
There's
harm
too
that's
much
happening
time.
in the interim?
It's been over a year.
Would you rather we rush through and put something on the books?
No, of course not. But that's a silly thing for you to say because I want just something to happen that's too long.
I
and correctly.
understand, and I believe we are headed in that direction. If you've been watching the meetings,
Oh, I've been watching the meeting.
we've
Trust
taken
me,
a
I've been
lot of
watching
time.
every
We've
meeting.
gone through a lot of things. We're trying to make sure we hear from everybody and come to the correct conclusion, not a quick one.
And we thank you for that. And I agree with others who have said, we thank you for all of the work that you have put in. Things have changed. We notice those things have changed. But this delay just adds to the frustration. You should understand that and understand that we want something to happen sooner rather than later. Don't stop. Continue. We appreciate it. We thank you very much. But again, the frustration level is very, very, very high. I know people who have moved from the neighborhood. I know people who have delayed putting changes to their property because of this. This is not going away. The angst at night, you don't appreciate because you don't live there. This does happen. It is happening. And this just frustrates us that much more. All we said is the rights of the applicant are greater than the rights of the people who live here. You've put this off for month after month after month. And this lawyer makes excuse after excuse after excuse. And because he is a lawyer, he gets accepted.
Mr. Crispin, I'm going to ask the board a question. Can we potentially put this hearing as well as the 6-month extension on for the same night on July 23rd? So that these people can only come out one time for both hearings?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine instead of waiting till August.
At the end of August?
I'm fine with that.
July 23rd?
If they have to be ready.
Mr. Archer, can you
If
be
they're not
ready by
ready,
July
then they-
23rd? That's another month.
The answer is I think the dean.
So we're going to put them both on 23rd, and if they're
So
not
we'll
ready
put
the
them on the
23rd, we're going to walk in.
8 to 5, he's not
If they're
ready.
not ready, then
we'll scrap it.
off the agenda and they
Thank
can
you.
reapply later. But when's the next best meeting is in July also? I don't,
I can give you a definitive August, I can't give you a definitive for July because that's only.
It's a month away.
It's a month away. What do you better go home and do your homework.
July 23rd.
The next best meeting is July 16th, so it's
Yeah.
before that. Just put it on for both for July.
Yeah.
It's not gonna
So we
happen.
adjourn it to July 23rd?
Yeah, and our next best meeting is July 16th. July 16th.
You need to come
Ms.
to-
Murcott?
You need to come. No.
No,
No, because they won't be able to hear you on the recording.
It's a total breach of procedure.
Yeah, let's have the hearing.
I just have a quick question, other than my usual.
Please identify yourself. for the
I'm
record.
sorry, my name is Gail Murcott. I
So
thought you
no
all
record,
knew me.
sorry.
I live in Hampton Bays, 7 Bayview Avenue. I just have a quick question. If they have to reapply, do they have to pay a fee to reapply rather than an adjournment?
Yes.
Yeah, most likely.
Well, isn't it in the interest of the town and the treasury and everything else to in fact have them reapply? I mean, am I being too,
That's a good point.
I know, but the first time they asked for the adjournment, it was the town had given kind of short notice, given how much time they had been waiting for us to respond. The second time, they asked tonight at their request because they didn't have enough time. So we're happy to put it on for June July 23rd, and if they're not ready, then we'll mark it off the calendar.
I defer to you to do the best thing.
Thank you.
It was just a question.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
We haven't voted on this one.
You have to
Adjourn
vote to
July
adjourn
23rd.
the,
You have to vote to adjourn.
okay,
yes.
then I move to adjourn the
Second.
public hearing to the June,
You're adjourning.
July 23rd at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
By the way, man, supervisor, you're correct. The first request was really based on getting very good notice, the ability to post the email in 2 days. So this is our first request. But I would much prefer, and I feel much more confident
Sorry.
as we get at the order.
I would have preferred to have it tonight.
We'll see you on the 23rd.
And you're also,
Yeah,
okay, you
you'll
need to
be all
finish
right. You
voting.
have a month to put it together.
Aye.
2 months.
Councilman Scalone.
Did she call all in favor?
No, but they
Already had
the
them.
ready.
Yes.
Already had them.
So Supervisor called all in favor on the vote
Yes.
to yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Got it.
July
Okay.
23rd.
July 23rd.
Thank you.
I have one leading question. Under what circumstances can Mr. Archer cancel the 23rd?
You can't.
He can't. Thank
Sorry.
Nice.
There you go.
Oh,
That sounds
very
better.
nice.
Can I come?
Thank you.
And there they all go.
They're not leaving.
And then there were 3.
They're not leaving because it's parking lot. It's traffic back.
Nah, nothing yet.
Just will you.
You'll hear.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that basketball?
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Certainly.
State vote.
Public hearing number 2, to consider the acquisition of 1065 Millstone Road in the hamlet of Noyak, New York, and amend the CPF Management Stewardship Plan to include the property.
Good evening, everyone. Jacqueline Fenlon, CPF Director for the Town of Southampton. Good evening, Madam Supervisor and Town Council members. We are here before you today to consider the property owned by LJ Limited. This property is located, as the Town Clerk said, at 1065 Millstone Road in the hamlet of Noyak. It is approximately 11.4 acres, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-22-1-30. And the owners of LJ Limited have expressed interest in selling the property for $2,800,000. This property.
Excuse me for a minute, Jackie. I thought Janice was going to shut the
I
door.
thought you
but
did
she
too.
didn't.
Dan, you got that?
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jan.
Dan.
Thank you,
I
Dan.
should open that door to get some more.
Just working on the air conditioning.
Oh, yeah. You gotta get that
Maybe now
too.
that all the people are gone.
So this property is listed. Are you ready
Oh,
to
yes,
proceed?
proceed,
Okay.
please.
This property is listed in the CPF priority plan, so it is in the open space greenbelt target area, and it is within a trail priority in the eastern GEIS priority. So this is a suitable property for preservation of open space, as well as possibly serving future trail connection goals. And I just wanted to point out the property here because it is adjacent to the existing portion of the Pomnock Path. This is the property. And then you can see the dashed dotted line is the Pomnock Path. So this would potentially allow us to eliminate a road walking section of the Pomnock Path. And there are existing trails here that we could possibly use to eliminate that aspect and that portion of road walking. So we could then connect through this property. And again, it's 11.4 acres, so this would have been able to yield 2 houses in this location, and is directly adjacent to preserved land to the south and across the road to the east.
Thank you.
You've answered my questions.
I don't have any cards on this, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard at this public hearing?
In this particular area, it's also a deep water recharge area. When water hits the ground there, it doesn't go into the bays for about 100 years. So it goes deep into our aquifer. So
Yeah.
preservation is a good thing
Yeah.
in this area.
Yeah, this is also in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, so clearing restrictions are imposed in this area, but better for it to stay pristine and help filter water before it gets to our sole source aquifer. Yeah.
I don't think I heard Kevin answer. Did you? As to whether there was anyone on Zoom?
Oh.
I'll ask him to leave the door open when he comes back.
Yeah, and open the door, not come through, you might get some cold.
Or there's a window in the hallway too.
It's like-
Please excuse the delay.
Who's in the bathroom?
The moratorium hearing date? Oh, instead of August. What's happening? Hey Jim, could you leave the door open just so that we can get some air in here? Yeah.
Open the window too.
A little warm in here. Not sure why. Okay, so no one's on Zoom then. Does the board have any questions for Ms. Fenlon?
Nope.
No?
Thank you.
Okay, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for public hearing number 3?
Public hearing number 3, to consider the acquisition of 21 Deer Run, also known as 1451 Deerfield Road in the hamlet of Watermill, New York.
Good evening again, Jacqueline Fenlon, Community Preservation Director. It is a little hot in here, so I appreciate the cross ventilation. This is a property that I actually inherited from the previous CPF director, so this is one of the last ones that we're trying to wrap up and get on the docket for this evening. This property is owned by Raymond A. Socklaben and Carol S. Socklaben. So they are the owners of the 2.4 acres at 21 Deer Run and 1451 Deerfield Road. So there's actually an access easement that serves from Deerfield Road, but the formal address for the assessor's office is 21 Deer Run Road. So that it did cause some confusions that we were settling. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-47-1-6.7. So Raymond A. Socklaben and Carol S. Socklaben have expressed interest in selling the property for $1,500,000. So this property happens to also be in the open space Greenbelt target area and open space target area of the Eastern GEIS. So this is just located a little bit of the west of the other property that we had before you earlier. But this is a property that is also going to achieve a Greenbelt corridor and trail corridor that the Trails Advisory Board has been seeking in this area for a very long time. So what you'll see behind me is actually the property that we're acquiring, which I'll highlight here. But as you can see, there's green on either side. The property to the east is actually an agricultural reserve. The original pedestrian easement went under the utility lines easement area. Although recently, and I believe it was 2023, there was actually a trail license agreement that was worked on very diligently to allow for better functionality of the ag reserve and to allow for a trail access easement along the south. This property is one of the missing links to complete this trail corridor in this location. So I don't know if this is exactly to scale, but I prepared this. So I'll just point, but this allows, if you see the green, this will allow residents to be able to finally walk between Deerfield Road and Little Noyak Path.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say this is an important link for that trail corridor in Greenbelt.
Thank
you.
This is one I actually worked on with the Trails Committee, and I mean, getting that piece was key, and I'm happy that it finally happened because when I came on the board, we worked on that trail easement to go, was it Deer Run Road?
Yep, Deer Run is right to the south.
It's nice to see it acquired.
Good.
Yeah.
No cards on this one, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard?
We have 0 people on Zoom.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any other questions for Jackie?
Nope. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Madam Clerk,
Thank
would
you.
you please read
Public hearing number 4, to consider a local law enacting Chapter 316A, abandoned vessels, which creates procedures for the handling of abandoned vessels.
I just want to say something before we open this. I think this should, first I want to tell Councilman McNamara, thank you for doing this. We need this, but I think there's few things missing in this. And I think it should go back to the drawing board and bring the town trustees involved with it. Sit down with them, sit down with the Bay Constables, sit down with code enforcement and the police department, because they're all involved in this. We just happened to have a boat what was abandoned in last fall. It was most likely mishandled. It was towed to one of our facilities, then towed to another one, then towed to another one. It should have been impounded right away. Now we're stuck with it. So I think this should go back and we should all look at this.
We're not stuck with that boat, but there's been a whole process going on with that boat. I don't want to get into that boat tonight, but this law was worked on with Sean Cambridge, with our public service administrator, Brian Murphy. I believe Mark McRegman worked on this as well. Mark, if you want to come up and introduce it and go through it, that would be great. And then,
but you did not involve the trustees with it, which is, it goes all back to respect each department, and all departments have to have input on this before we go to a public hearing, so we have the rule.
I actually have discussed it with the trustees.
thank you, Mark. Could you just present it and go through it, and then we can have a discussion if one is warranted?
And it does make mention of the trustees in 2 separate areas. This proposal, well, actually, first I should probably talk just a little bit about the problems facing both the town and the trustees regarding abandoned vessels. The town of Southampton has had...
Mark, can you talk up a little bit loud?
Sure, I'm sorry. Fix the mic.
Come closer.
How's that? A little better?
Yeah. A little better.
Mm-hmm. The town of Southampton has had an ongoing issue with abandoned vessels for quite some time now. They're often in poor condition, abandoned by their owners. They can cause damage to the property of others, create navigational hazards, and they leave the town with the burden of impounding property. And then the town either has to auction the vessel off or destroy it, all at expense to the town. Southampton Town Marine Patrol typically works with various divisions of the town to resolve anywhere from 1 to 5 instances of abandoned vessels every year. These abandoned vessels are environmental hazards as they often contain large amounts of fuel, or they're constructed of materials that are not naturally found within marine environments and are pollutants when not properly maintained. This legislation, proposed legislation, seeks to deter individuals from abandoning vessels and to hold those who have abandoned vessels without regard for the safety of others responsible. By enacting Chapter 316A, the town board seeks to create clear standards for Marine Patrol to follow when dealing with an abandoned vessel. And I'll speak, I'll try to give you just a nutshell version of what the legislation says. It's a few pages long, but the proposed law defines abandoned vessels as any unsecured vessel, float, houseboat, raft, catamaran, mooring, or buoy, and any unsecured vessel, float, houseboat, raft, catamaran, mooring, or buoy, which remains unmoved in the same location in town waters, including in any public beach, dock, wharf, marina, bulkhead, berth, or slip for a period of 10 days without permission from either the town of Southampton or the trustees of the freeholders and commonalty of the town of Southampton. And then the legislation goes on specifically to carve out penalties for people who abandon vessels, and also provision for redemption so that people can get an abandoned vessel back. I could go into as much depth as you want on any of those sections if you like.
Just could you tell us about this part about redemption by owner, if they don't on the sale versus the sale of unredeemed vessels? You got 2 separate sections on that.
Absolutely, and they're important sections. Any vessel or personal watercraft impounded by the town of Southampton will only be considered an abandoned vessel or personal watercraft if it's not redeemed within a period of 30 days. So essentially, the vessel must be redeemed within a period of 30 days after impound, or it will be deemed abandoned. So someone can contact the town and say, that's my vessel. I didn't know it was abandoned. And then cost recovery comes into place, which is also terribly important because in the past the town has borne the burden on its own of either auctioning these vessels off or destroying them. So in this case, anyone responsible for an abandoned vessel has to reimburse the town of Southampton for all costs associated with removal, transport, storage, auction, and destruction in cases of unfit vessels.
That's so we don't get accused of an illegal taking.
That's exactly right. And actually, one of the first steps is it would be declared first a public nuisance as it is, because it creates serious problems for other boats and
But in
navigation.
the end, they're going to pay for all of our expenses.
That's correct.
Where is that
That's correct.
section?
That's good law.
That's section 316A2, subsection 6 on cost recovery.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a whole separate section also on redemption by owner and how that works, including public notice in 3 conspicuous public areas to be posted by the clerk for at least 10 days so that someone has an opportunity to contest or to realize that their vessel is in fact about to be declared abandoned.
So the person can come to a town dock or a trustee dock and tie up for 10 days before it's declared abandoned.
That's right.
So on the 9th day, he can move it to another one.
That's right. We didn't want to create legislation, specifically my colleague who I think wrote.
That's a problem because in 10 days can do a lot of damage. It could be like 48 hours.
Okay.
Any person who owns a boat is not going to leave the boat under 10 days for that length of time at a facility.
48 hours?
Yeah. Not 10 days. Because I can go down to the dock and tie my boat up for 10 days, and move it on 9 days, and go to another dock and stay there for free.
And
decrease.
Bill, that's absolutely a change that we can make as
Yeah.
part of the public hearing process. There's no reason to scrap this and hold off on it when you just brought that to our attention, and we can go to council with it, and we can make that change as a part of the hearing process. That's why we do these. So that's what I'm saying. If there's issues that you have with it, let me know, and as part of the hearing process, we can address them.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Is there any distinction, Mark, between a vessel that's in marketable condition as opposed to something that even a layperson could look at and say, this thing is not really a vessel that's fit to be sailed in?
There is, and this proposed law calls them unfit vessels, and those are vessels that can be destroyed.
Destroyed immediately. We don't have to go through an auction process.
Right, that's correct.
Right. I think the vast majority of the ones we're dealing with are kind of fall in that category.
There are, most of them seem to be vessels that are in bad shape and
Yeah.
can pose a harm to the environment.
Yeah, and
I'm fine with opening the public hearing.
I was going to say it's 30 days enough of posting, but I guess since we're talking about 48 hours now, I mean.
You'll have a guy come with a barge with a crane and stay there for 9 days and move it at that 9 days and tie the whole dock up.
But some people might only come and use their boats on the weekends. Couldn't that be possible that somebody would just not come out for a few days?
You're gonna tie your boat to a town facility and stay there for 9 days without paying it and keep.
I agree with Bill on shortening the time frame.
Yeah.
But not to 48 hours.
Well,
Oh, yeah, 48
I'm
hours.
sure we can come up with a more reasonable, less than 10 days, more than 48 hours time frame that we can agree on.
Yeah. 48 hours is good. Because you deprive someone else from using the facility.
And just to be specific on section 316A5, redemption by owners, which which covers unfit vessels and personal watercrafts. It's after 30 days if a vessel or personal watercraft is considered unfit for use by Marine Patrol, then it shall be destroyed.
But these people paid a dock fee, right? They pay for the
No,
slip?
these people are just, they're confiscating a boat that's floating out there, or someone comes and ties a boat to a town facility and walks away.
They're not paying
They're not
for a
paying
slip.
Yeah, these aren't slip owners. These
No.
aren't, no, that's a whole separate
That's a whole
regulation
separate
for them.
thing.
These can be things that wash up on the marsh, they can be tied to a town dock, they can be.
No insurance.
Yeah.
Right, the key is that the boat is left without permission from the trustees, the freeholders, or the town.
Right.
And I mean, I honestly think we're gonna see more of these, as,
Yes.
People are having problems with the economy, and boats get very expensive, and sometimes, I think we're gonna see a lot of people just wanna cut their losses. Make it on the town's dime that we get rid of them, so.
It's one thing if they got some value.
This
we
was
can
really
afford
just to
it.
have a procedure in place by which we do this, to protect the town, and, so we don't incur any liability on this. And there's process laid out by which everyone can follow, and it's very clear, and there's fees, and, it's something we were lacking on. So it's kind of like when I put the legislation in place last year on, the no fishing from the bridges that wasn't in place, that the, Marine Patrol was asking us for, because it was a dangerous thing, and we didn't have a code on the books that, said you couldn't do it, so they couldn't enforce it. This gives them a very clear way of how to enforce this, so.
Right, and it's not just Marine Patrol, it's other
Any
town
town.
departments,
Yep.
highway, any employee of the town
Parks.
can also
I see what you
be
mean.
be a part of this. There is a section 316A7 for penalties, which I think is important in terms of discouraging abandoned vessels. It's a fine of not less than $750 and up to $1,000. Also, possibly imprisonment of a period not to exceed 15 days, although that's unlikely, but that's part of the proposed legislation.
And another big part of this was the vessel or personal watercraft creating a hazardous condition and recovering hazmat fees and all of that, which we didn't currently have in our code. So.
That's right. It's an excellent point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Paul.
Sure.
I have a card from President Horowitz of the town trustees.
I think we have to.
Would you like to? I think we did. Sunday read the.
No, it's not open, is it? Is it open?
Supervisor,
Okay.
members of the board, thank you for the conversation. I think this is a good start of a conversation. I agree with Councilwoman McNamara. This is going to increase. There's going to be more of this. I also agree with Councilman Pell. Sometimes people are taking advantage. The trustees are holding all this underwater lands and marshlands. And some of these piers, the pier that he references in East Quogue is owned by the trustees. I mean, it's owned by the people of the town of Southampton, the freeholders in commonality. When you have people that are taking advantage of these assets, it's blocking other people from being able to use them for no charge. They become liabilities. Fuel spills and oils going into the wetland and into the ecosystem. That's not what we're for. We're about creating sanctuaries. We're about, protecting the quality of life for everybody, all the stakeholders that want to enjoy the water, the economic engine of our community. So the trustees are major stakeholders here. I'm here to work with you to try and help you resolve an issue. It's a good start of a conversation, but we have real life examples here of where, we need to tighten up and we need to work a lot better. There needs to be better communication among the trustees in the town. Everybody that's involved in this, Ryan Murphy, everybody. We need to coordinate better. We need to have better logistics. Obviously, there's going to have to be a fund that if Marine Patrol is taking an action and they have to do something, they have to know there's a fund there to do this. We need to have contracts in place when these situations occur. And now we're finding out that you have one set of contractors that you can call for certain types of vessels. And when you have deep drafted vessels with large masts, it creates another complication. So, like Councilman Pell was saying, he served as trustee for a long time, so he understands, guys like myself, licensed captain, been on the water my whole life, we can help you craft this And I think there are instances where we're going to work together on it because we own a lot of these piers, where if we communicate and say, hey, this is what we got going on, we're going to bring a vessel in here, so-and-so is going to pick this up, they're under contract, it's getting impounded and gone. Now, some of these things have lingered for too long for us to be wrestling with. And I think that to the discussion about, well, if the guy's there 9 days and if he's this, if he's that, we have rules on the tie-ups. And I think that we need to be strict with that because there's a reason. If we're going to get stuck with something, I think the sooner we find out and deal with it, the better off that we're going to be. So if somebody's overstaying someplace where they're not supposed to be, they should get a violation and get out of here, deal with it. And if we find out that you're just dumping this on us, the sooner the better, because we're running less risk of doing damage to the ecosystem and getting this thing done and not encumbering the rest of the freeholds and commonality of this township. So, I'm here to support, your law and your conversation, but I also want to say there needs to be a lot more work because we could pass this and then we don't have all the mechanism to back it up and we're still going to be, in the same problem. And it is going to get worse. Some of these vessels are getting older and their values are diminished. They're becoming more liabilities to the owners. And the marinas obviously are onto this because they don't want to get stuck with it either. They end up with the problem of having to take possession and the expense of chopping it up and putting it in a dumpster. And you're going to see this. And I'm here to work with you to try and help you craft something that's good. I've been watching the one situation. We've seen many situations as the trustee and as president of the trustees. I carry 2 cell phones. I answer my phones all the time. People are complaining. They're not happy, And I understand that. And we're doing the best that we can. And this is a situation that's occurred and we're trying to work our way through that. So for whatever it is that you do, to Bill Pell's point, we're here as a resource. We are stakeholders. We're representing all the freeholders and commonality, all the people that own here and rent here and are here. We're representing that and we're here to help because this is a problem. Those are our wetlands. They're our clams that we hold in trust for everyone. We don't want to see harm done. This is going to be a problem. Whatever I can do to help facilitate this, that's what I'm here for. All right? And enforcement, people are begging for enforcement. I hear it all the time. They're looking around. They're seeing docks. They're seeing things occurring. The waterfront has eyes. Everybody is watching, and they're making telephone calls. They want that asset protected. It's the quality of life. So whatever it is that we can do to work together to protect what everybody hold near and dear, that's what I'm here for, to try and work with you on. Do you have any questions for myself?
Hey, Scott, do you remember in the Blue Book, how long can you moor a boat without a permit?
It's about a couple of hours.
No, I mean like overnight.
Like overnight on
you
the
can, yeah, you can. I think it's 24 hours or 48 hours.
Anchoring it up, yes.
Yes.
Okay. But with the tie-ups, generally it's a couple of hours. If you're going to come for a couple of hours to a pier, you got to go. Someone's staying 4 or 5 days, staying a week. That's not what those piers are for. We passed some regulations at our board to better regulate the commercial enterprises because you have these barges with cranes that need to load material and gear. And they need to use that facility. And as you're aware, we work with the town board. You have bonded for us, and then we pay back the debt service to rebuild these piers so that people can go fishing, crabbing, and they can be used to maintain a waterfront community. But even those folks, they come in with big, heavy barges. We want to know who's there, when they're coming, when they're leaving. We want to know that they have insurance. Because when they damage these facilities, it's $400,000. It's $1 million. We have conversations about what this infrastructure costs. So we're trying to clamp down on that. So we know they're coming in. There's going to be some, bulkheading loaded on. Then that barge is going to leave. There has to be a rhyme and reason. There's just too much going on, and we need to work together. We need to tighten up on enforcement. We need to communicate. There needs to be, clearly defined logistics, and it's not that tough. All it requires is a group of people getting around the table, following whatever the bidding process, procurement procedures are, to make determinations of who's hauling it, who's taking it, where's it going. We could lock all that stuff down. And I think it has to happen sooner than later because it's going to get worse.
So what would you recommend as the timing? Would you say 48 hours is appropriate?
48 hours, I would say if someone is not moving their vessel in 48 hours, they certainly need to be getting a violation, and we need to know what's going on.
Well, according to this, they'll get taken.
Well,
right?
you know, you
And
can't
that's the
take
whole
the
thing.
boat.
We can't take a boat in 48 hours. We'd be taking, how many boats we'd be taking?
See, I think what's got to happen is
The ones that don't have permission to
but
be there.
That's why they went with 10 days, because if you make it the time frame too short, you're gonna have to be impounding all the events.
Right, I think
in 48 hours, you have to make contact with the owner and find out what the situation is. Because I know there was a barge at Bay Avenue that broke down, and they were in the process of getting it fixed.
and those things happen, like, you know.
And as long as they contact somebody,
Thank
this
you.
is saying that if you're there after 48 hours and nobody's been contacted and nobody knows what's going on, then, you know.
I think they should get violations when there are regulations that say they're supposed to get violations. I think they should get them, and they should respond to them. And if they don't respond to them, you know, whatever the law is that you resolve, you should engage. You know, and that's what we should do. We should all be communicating. My phone rings off the hook. I tell people we all work together. We do the best that we possibly can. And it's difficult. And I'm telling you, the waterfront does have eyes. Everybody is watching everything, and they're making phone calls. You try and push them onto the SOS system, but they're making phone calls, and that's the way it is. It's not a bad thing. We have sanctuaries out there. You know, we're concerned about poaching and different things. This is our water quality. This supports, you know, our baymen and our heritage here. You want people to be watching. You want them to care about this, and you want to have folks like myself and yourself that are receptive to protecting what everybody cares about. And that's why I came down here to work with you tonight. I think everybody does a great job. You know, the Marine Patrol, I started out as a part-time bay constable back in the day, in my first position with the town, so I have a lot of respect for what it is that they do. And that was under the trustees at that point in time. So I fully understand, and I'm here to try and help you.
So I guess we keep this open so we all can look at it.
Want to close it and leave it open for written for 2 weeks?
I think we're going to have to renotice it because that's a big change on the date.
Changing the time we can do, because it was brought up as a, right, Jim? We can do that.
Can we just table it?
Do you want to table it, or you want to?
I mean,
You're the sponsor. I mean,
I'd rather close it and leave it open for 2 weeks. We can make these changes as part of the hearing record. They were all, this change was made. The request was made as a part of the public hearing, so we can make that change to the time frame. Right, Jim?
Well,
The 10 days?
10 days to what, I guess, is what the question
48 hours.
That's what I'm saying. I think we need to take the 2 weeks and
to
figure out.
review it. Well, yeah. If at the end of 2 weeks, if we think it's too much of a significant change, then we can reschedule it. But
yeah, because if it's
Because either we're going to have to
significant
reschedule it or
change, we'll have to renotice.
Repost it.
So we may as well close this one and decide what we're doing.
Yeah.
After we talk to Marine Patrol and
And you can give us,
Public
the
safety
trustees can give us some comments too.
We're here as a resource to provide assistance in working the logistics on getting these things out of the waterway or providing whatever guidance to try and help you get things in place. Because you see it even with the whales, we had it. Okay, who's doing what machine, where we had to get all this stuff. Same thing with this, and I think that it's a great conversation. Everybody get around the table. It's not that tough. We'll fix it.
And we did that last year. The policy for the large mammals,
Yeah,
right?
so
That was done
class-
last year in conjunction with you all, the county. That's
Classic example.
right.
And things, you know, you're going to get a curveball from time to time. There's no doubt about it. But if you have, you know, the framework in place, you'll be able to deal with it.
Okay, so Councilwoman McNamara moved to close the public hearing and leave it open for 10 days of comments. Thank you for your comments. Does anybody
Thank you for
second
your
that?
service, folks.
We're closing the hearing with a 10-day written comment.
Yes. You second that?
Once I get 48 hours.
Second the motion.
48 hours.
we have to have a discussion.
I'm looking around for Eddie Murphy.
You wanted everybody involved, so we're going to go to Marine Patrol. We're going to go to.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Fun.
all right. Lengthy. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 5th public hearing?
Public hearing number 5, to consider amendments to Town Code Article 24 entitled Central Pine Barrens Overlay District to incorporate recent changes to update the comprehensive land use plan.
Well, Janice isn't here tonight, but we did have a full presentation by Teresa at a work session.
We have not yet received Suffolk County Planning Commission or the Planning Board report for this hearing.
Table it till the next meeting.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
keep it open then because we
Yeah,
can't.
let's open it.
Anybody wants to speak tonight?
Okay, all right, so
If anybody wants to speak.
It's open now.
would anybody like to speak on this? I don't have any cards. Kevin, is anybody on Zoom? Okay. All right, so I move to hold this over to the next meeting, which is
July 9th.
July 9th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to the public portion, and I do have some cards. First one is Gail Lombardi.
Good evening, and I did have prepared comments for the last public hearing on the best. This one I'm winging it, and that never usually turns out well.
Hey, Gail.
Yes.
Could you talk? I hardly people
Can-
hardly can hear. I want to make sure people can hear.
Can you hear me?
That's better
Yeah.
now.
More
Although-
important, Mr. Pellet, you hear me.
The sound
I want
isn't
everyone
that
to hear
great.
you.
Okay, so I'm speaking on my own behalf. I'm not speaking on any organization, and I do thank you for the privilege of your time. And two issues. One is the Hampton Bays Water District. Last month, on a day you all had a meeting, the DEC came to the library and spoke about the Superfund site, and I think it would have been very helpful if members of our Water Commission were there. So I'm hoping, the last time I think you were in Hampton Bays was, I believe, 2019, before you approved the 30-year plan. And so it would be, I think it'd be really helpful. I know you talked about it, Cindy. I think you mentioned it over last summer, maybe, if you guys could come back, because there was actually I got a notice from the DEC this week where they're reassessing the soil cleanup for the PFAS, and it would affect our cleanup in the fire district. And it is concerning to several people. There was a woman that is a water watchdog that came to our meeting and concerned that you all, as part of the water district, is looking at the water filtration system as part of the cleanup for the fire department. There's some overlap, so it would be really helpful, I think, if you guys could come to the Hampton Bays and schedule a forum and a meeting. Whether people show up or not, that's on them then. So I appreciate if you could do that. But going on with my civic engagement, this is a lovely picture of me in 2016, when I first came to this board to speak of public engagement. I learned to comb my hair before I come to town board meetings, number one, because this is the worst picture I've ever seen of myself, and I hope never to see it again, because I could blow it up on my assistive devices. But I've sent you guys emails. I am concerned about the civic engagement in Hampton Bays. There's always been, I got involved 10 years ago, in here I'm quoted, is I'd give my soul for Hampton Bays, but not for 4 people. And so what happened is I got actively involved, trying to garner support, trying desperately to have all the groups work together. Myself and Bruce Dasha, Paula Godfrey, if she's still here. When we were on the CAC in 2016, we put through a recommendation that all the heads of all the organizations were forced to be on the civic CAC, because there's too many organizations that act as civic associations when they're not civic associations. There's a whole bunch of other vested interests, like let's say the Rotary. They're not a civic association. Beautification, they're an offshoot of the civic association, and they're a 501c3. They're a charity. So what happens is, Supervisor Moore came to the beautification meeting. You were there. They've turned into quasi-civic associations. So we had recommended that the CAC have all the heads of all the groups on the CAC. So you would have the chamber. Right now you have Christine Taylor, but you don't have Ray D'Angelo. You don't, and so there's a disconnect. So Christine Taylor speaks on behalf of the chamber. She speaks on behalf of the CAC, and now there's a new group called the Alliance. And I've sent you my concerns on a number of concerns about the Alliance. I tried very hard, and to be attacked by any town official, elected or not elected, for my efforts is really very difficult for me over the past 8 years. I take it personally because I really throw my heart and soul into this. So I'm hoping that some of the information I've sent you, I'm hoping you take a serious look at, because I believe there are conflicts of interest. And I'm hoping Civic, I think, is doing a great job. I am now directed, it took every ounce of my being to step up. It's not something I'm comfortable with. And I have to say, Jacqueline, if she's still here, she did a great job. Thank you so much. And Lisa was at the meeting, and she did a great job representing you all. They make you look like superstars that you are. I forget who else has been in our meetings other than elected officials. So I'm really hoping we could, I've sent a couple of emails out to try to meet with a couple of you, work out some things. It's not about my opinion, it's about a process. I'm not looking you all to
30
agree with
seconds.
me. Okay, so I'm hoping we could do a better job of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bill Dawson.
I thought perhaps I know a couple of members of our local PAL board are joining me as well. Can they also come up? I think they're attached probably just after myself. We're sort of on a.
You can line up if you'd like.
Yes, okay.
Mm-hmm. 3 minutes each.
So good evening. My name is Bill Dawson. I'm a resident of West Hampton Beach, and I'm also the president of East End Little League. I'm joined by Kate Terza.
Hi, Kate Terza. I'm on the board of Southampton Town Police Athletic League.
So both of us, both boards, both the East End Little League board and our Southampton Town PAL board, have been having a number of conversations lately about what we could do to help improve perhaps the opportunities for our youngest players, sports players, to gain access to fields. And learning about the proposal for Spionk Park has been a boon, what we hope could be a boon for the youth of Southampton Town. As a member of the board, as president of East End Little League, both myself and the board, the PAL board, are hoping to encourage you to continue progress with plans for developing Spionk Park. East End Little League in particular serves close to 350 players in our baseball and softball programs. We are, like PAL, a fully volunteer organization, and we work with kids ages 4 through 12 to try to give them the best opportunities to develop skills and sportsmanship. And we believe that Spionk Park would be a wonderful way to alleviate a number of the stressors that we face when it comes to scheduling. In particular, with the East End Little League, we apply each year for a variety of permits to local fields so that we can conduct our practices and games. Supervisor Moore, you know me as well from applying for permits to the village of West Hampton Beach in order to use the great lawn for our T-ball programs. We set up makeshift fields every year. It takes an inordinate amount of hours, from vocal volunteers to get it to happen. It does happen because we believe it's in the best interest of the kids. We also apply for permits to local school districts, East Quogue, West Hampton Beach, and we're able to use their fields. And also we have a permit for Southampton Town's Hampton West Park. It's the only turf field in the community, and it is our flagship field, primarily because the problems that weather has on those dirt fields. Anyone who's ever coached a team knows, we are watching the weather. It's like a second job for most of us. What is it going to happen? How are we going to reschedule? Where are we going to move these things? How are we going to, there isn't opportunities because there's graduations on fields and there's field days, and we're constantly faced with the stressors of trying to find appropriate field space. A lack of lighting at all of these facilities also minimizes the opportunity for us to utilize the space. With growing programs in both the PAL as well as East End Little League, Spionk Park seems to us a wonderful opportunity, knowing that it could be something that turfed would allow for use on a day of rain. We know a number of us also play and coach teams in the town of Brookhaven, and we know and what we've seen what a wonderful opportunity the town of Brookhaven has afforded its residents with those turfed fields. So we are hoping that this is something that is a proposal that won't die, but that we can keep motivation going for. And I'd like to maybe just give also Kate a little chance to speak about PAL, how it impacts them in particular.
Sure. So, as I said, I'm Kate Turza. I'm a resident in East Quogue. My husband and I, Brian, have lived there for 12 years. We've got 3 kids, 13, 12, and 9, and I've been an active member of the Southampton Town Police Athletic League for the last 4 years, but been involved for many years before that. Our organization offers youth programs ages 5 to 11, K through 6. We have a youth tackle program, youth flag football for both boys and girls. We have cheer, we have field hockey, and we have boys and girls lacrosse. Our athletes include the whole of Southampton Town, since we're the farthest east PAL organization, but the majority of our athletes are from the West Hampton area. In our efforts to provide opportunities for young athletes to participate, we've run into many roadblocks, and one of them is quality, available, and centrally located fields. West Hampton School District does allow us to use their fields, but we're limited by the school game practice times and their school teams, daylight and field maintenance. So during the late fall and winter months and early spring, we don't have any access to any lighted fields, which, as you know, that means by 5 o'clock we're not able to do anything, and the school uses their fields till 5 o'clock. So we have very limited seasons. During the summer, we don't have any access to any field in the West Hampton area due to facility and field maintenance, because they're all grass fields. So they use the summer to reseed and resod and do all the things to their fields. So we can't do any summer programming. Last year with the new turf field, we were only allowed to practice certain nights of the week for a certain amount of time. And I don't know if that's going to change in the future, because they're really trying to preserve their fields. As they're the only fields that are lined for lacrosse and football, which is the bulk of the sports that we currently are able to offer right now. So we don't really have another option in our area for our kids to play those sports. Our player fees only cover the fees for Suffolk County Police Athletic Leagues for our teams, our insurance, and insurance costs. So we don't have we can't pay for field use space, so we can't go to other places. We support the town of Southampton installing multi-use turf fields at Spionk Park. This will alleviate some of the pressure we feel in reserving field space for our community programs. We also know that our programs grow each year. This past fall, we had over 250 participants in our flag football, tackle, and cheer, and in spring, we've had over 220 in our boys and girls lacrosse. We have a difficulty scheduling and accommodating all our practices. It's simply too much to rely on the school fields. And we know the lack of quality field space doesn't just affect our programming, but like Bill said, East End Little League and also Southampton Town. We are advocating for our community as a whole. We have local families that want their kids in community programs. Southampton Town needs to support more opportunities for these local families to participate in community-based sports and activities. Youth sports are proven to increase self-confidence, personal growth, improve social skills, a sense of belonging, and achievement. And we can all agree that the more opportunities that are presented to our youth and community, the more we nurture their potential, we ensure a brighter and more equitable, inclusive future for all.
30 seconds.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a parent who had both of my girls go through East End Little League and PAL because we didn't have the time or money for travel leagues, I want to say thank you, because really appreciate what you guys do.
And thank you as well. We appreciate it. It was nice to hear Tracy Colson at the very beginning speak about youth. It just comes full circle. It's all about the kids. It's all about giving them opportunities. And so, thank you.
Thank
Can I need
you.
a copy of,
Sure, right here.
Yes, please hand it to the clerk.
And I'm hoping you got the emails.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
A lot of
135.
emails, yes.
Fantastic.
I'm getting them and distributing them to everyone.
There's a lot of support for the program. So if there's any questions
As we're
that you
seeing.
have for any of us, or if there's any word on what there might be in terms of momentum for this
We're
project,
having a
we're
work
fearful that
session.
it might just die a
Yeah,
second, slow down.
We're having a work session. It's this Thursday, and the Parks Department is going to report to us on all the park projects, and it'll include the Spionk Park.
Is there any future recommendations or suggestions you have for us?
They can't, you have to go up there because
Oh, I
the people can't hear you out, or keep you out.
We can hear you, but
We can hear you,
we
but the
record
people at
these.
home can't hear
Well,
you.
if anything comes up, we'll contact you and we'll, we need from you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And thank you
Okay,
for
I have
working
a
with
card from
kids.
David Seeley.
So, my name is Dave Seeley, obviously, since you called me. I was the past coordinator for softball for the East End Little League, and currently a member of the board of the East End Little League. And I'm going to be a little less nice than my counterparts here. This project was identified, or the property for this project was identified well over 3 years ago. So it's been a slow walk. We went and found the CPF property, myself, Bill, you were at the meeting, I believe, and Kristen Doulos about 3 years ago. So I'd like to see this thing move a little quicker. This is one opportunity for us to do something for our children and not something, on a beach for the children that are visiting us. We don't have the time as parents, to get to games at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We need things, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when we have to schedule them now because we don't have fields with lights. We need fields with lights so that we can get to them. We're missing our opportunity, and mostly because we're sitting in the traffic that we have going down 27 and Montauk Highway. We can't get there. Most of us work out east. Most of us can't get to a game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's the only time we get to schedule it. So it's time that we do something for us, for our children, for our community, instead of what we do for everybody who comes here and visits us. We only have a certain amount of time in the spring and in the fall to get these things accomplished. In the summer, most of us are working. Either we're at the beach working or at a client's house working. We don't have the time to get our kids to the things in the summertime. We need fall, we need spring to get our kids into these programs. And if I can, stress any more, that the time is now. It's not to be delayed anymore. It's already been 3 years since we identified this process or a project or the land for this project, and we haven't gotten anywhere. So,
well, you have gotten somewhere. I mean, the town put money aside. This is millions of dollars that we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it was $10 million for the
money.
beach thing. So
what was $10 million?
The beach pavilion at Ponquag was $10 million. We continually spend on our visitors. It's time to spend on us.
I think a lot of our residents use the beaches also.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't because we don't have time. And a lot of us don't. Like myself, I barely make it to the beach. I have a boat sitting at the dock in East Quogue that I haven't seen yet. It's been in the water for 3 months. We don't have time. We're all working really hard around here. We all want to live here. We all want to experience this place. But yet we're second. We're second. We're taking second.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I do. I feel very strongly about being second in all places. East Quogue is now experiencing things that we haven't experienced before with traffic and everything else. We need more about us. We need things like this. We need the park. We need traffic mitigation. There are so many things that we need for us. It's time. It's time to start concentrating on people who live here consistently.
Unfortunately, you said 3 years. The prior board had 3 years to do it. You have 3 new board members. He brought it up, okay? We have to look into it because exactly how we're going to find the money, how to do it. And we have to
I appreciate that. I do. Don't think for a second I don't appreciate about new incoming people. But
blame us for.
I'm not blaming anyone.
The prior board, they had 3 years to do it.
It was in all fairness to Dave, there were supposed to be lights at Hampton West.
Yeah.
There were supposed to be lights. I believe East End Lily did a lot of work getting that field to be turf, right? Money wise and donations and you guys did a lot there.
Well, for the scoreboard and things of that nature, I think the turf came before my time, and that might have been Ryan and those that were before us.
But the community did a lot of work getting
Absolutely.
it there, and then the lights didn't happen. And then they went out and they identified this property. They were working with Councilman Martell at the time.
Even prior to him.
Prior to Rick, but Rick took it over, and it got a dribble of money here and there. It didn't get. I know Rick was frustrated because Rick wanted to see a lot more happen with it, and every year he was frustrated because there's not enough money. When you say we put money to it for 3 years, the money we put to it won't even pay for the parking at this point in time. So there hasn't been a substantial investment in that property in the 3 years that since we've because it was Lisa Combrink, as you remember, who came here.
I mean, after we acquired it?
Acquired it, because we had to do a resolution to change it to active parkland. It's been a whole process, and the frustration was they saw lights at Hamptons West, and not to be frank, but plug got pulled.
Well, I just met with the Pine Barrens this week, and I asked again about the lights at Hampton West, and they just said they can't let lights go into the core of the Pine Barrens like that. It's
And then
too
they
harmful
understood,
to
and-
the wildlife.
And they understood, and that's why
Unfortunately-
we located, we found another location where we could do lights and we could have a facility that we need. And Dave, and Kristen we've had a study done. We are very deficient in parks on the western end of town. We have the study that shows that. I think we're all supportive of it. We just have to,
So one of the concerns I have is with the Pine Barrens, and consistently the Pine Barrens comes up. And they've talked about moths birthing and all sorts of other good stuff that
Long-eared
prevents
bats.
lights. I'm sorry?
Long-eared bats.
Long-eared bats. Or, so the short amount of time in the spring and the fall that the lights will exist for the programs, I'm sure is not going to prevent all bats from progressing. I think we continually kowtow to people who make up all these things.
the bats are now endangered.
They're not. The bats are endangered.
Now they're.
I mean,
they moved to
so
the
the
endangered list,
5
so.
lights that are on this little field are going to continue that endangerment. I mean, come on, we're talking about small sections of this Pine Barrens, which is thousands upon thousands of acres for the bats to go and do what they've got to do. We have to have some give and take in this process, and it can't always be on the side of the long-eared bat.
No.
I'm interested to see what Kristen's going to say on Thursday, and
Yeah, there's a possibility that we could, petition the Pine Barrens Commission on
I
that.
just asked this week,
Yeah,
yesterday.
Then what did they say? They said
They said no, absolutely not.
Oh.
They would not grant a hardship waiver for that. It's in the core, which they really are trying to protect.
yeah. Well,
And we're on what is considered to be the
They said if we wanted to put some Little League fields back there, which I thought would be a good idea because there's a big stretch of open space, but no lights. And the
we're
Little
talking
League
about the
doesn't
Spionk.
need the lights.
We're talking
No,
about
we're
Spionk.
talking Hampton West.
Hampton West.
Hampton West.
We're off of Hampton West.
There's no parking at
there's
Hampton
parking and
West.
there's no size.
There's no parking.
No, it's not going to help us because when you go back there, there's only one field, and when you have 2 fields, soccer field and the softball field, there's too much activity.
I mean, my kids played there, and you can't park.
Can't move.
So there's no way you can add other fields.
So I don't
But what I am concerned about, though, is that now that we're progressing towards Spionk, you're going to run into the very same problem with lighting.
no, it's not because you're not in the core area.
Still
core
in
areas
compatible
of it.
growth, though.
Yeah, it's different rules.
Compatible growth will be allowed.
Well, we'll check with them, with the Pine Barrens Commission, we can review that, but there are distinctly different rules between what you can do in a core area, which is pretty much nothing, as opposed to the compatible growth.
So the Spionk Park area, what's projected to be the Spionk Park, is not in the core.
It's not in the core area, that's
Okay.
correct.
Well, then we should have less problem with lighting.
We may
It's,
very
it's,
well,
it's something that we really need to push forward towards. What I think people don't understand is when we're trying to get our kids to these games, we're worked till 4 or 5 o'clock. The games at 5 would be great. The games at 6 would be great. Games at 7 would be even better for some of us. So in those times of the years, the light is gone by 5:30, 5:15. So I would
Yeah.
suggest that we go forward with not only the park but the lighting, and do something really special for our kids who, I mean, you go across to Brookhaven, they're building a park every other day. I can't, we're falling behind fast. I mean, there's parks everywhere in Brookhaven. There's got to be 15 that I know of just off the top of my head that I've played in with my daughter. Fortunately, my daughters are all getting older. I'm kind of matriculating out of this whole thing, but we started this back 4 years ago or so, and I'd like to finish it before we leave, or before I leave. I've got probably a year left before I got colleges and all that good stuff. So, thanks for hearing me.
I don't think it's fair for you to say that we don't care about the residents, because that's why we're all here. That's what motivated us to run for office. We do care about all of you. And
I
that's,
apologize for lumping you in, but what I'm saying is that government at large, I'm not talking about anyone individually, I'm not talking about the fact that you give all your time. I'm saying what we're doing is we just continually do the things that are expedient for some, but not all. And we feel like we get left back. I mean, you do see some of the improvements that go on in Bridgehampton. You see some of the improvements that go on in Southampton. You go to East Quad, we can't even get a pot of plant on a road. I mean, we fight for so much where we live. We fight for a lot of things. We have traffic that is just destroying our neighborhoods. My wife lives 5 minutes from her office. It takes her 45 minutes to get from her house, our home, to her office in Hampton Bays. We are not doing the good things for the people who live here when it comes to the creature comforts, the quality of life issues, really. And I'm not suggesting that you don't care.
we have the traffic
particularly.
task force meeting again tomorrow, I think, and we're
So they should also know that
and
all the
we're focusing. We've looking at traffic circles. We're looking at anything we can do to help with the traffic, including in Hampton.
Mhm. Well, we have a situation where there's not enough roads, and we're not looking to build new ones, and we think we have to start looking at new roads. something that has to be done. You can't do it with the 2 roads we have existing. You got to figure it out, whatever it might be. There has to be another road getting there. It's just not enough road. I'm coming here tonight. Montauk Highway is packed from here all the way out to probably not quite the bridge, not quite the overpass in Hampton Bays, but pretty close. You know, it's backed up bad. And so that's what we're fighting to get to our games. We're fighting that. We're fighting it from going to work, coming back to try to get to our kids, you know, recitals, our games, our just life in general, whatever appointment we might have to have. Sometimes we got to leave at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We don't get our work done in the day because we got to get out before the track starts. And it's really something that has been ignored for so long. And I'm not suggesting that you're not trying to address it, but it's been kicked down the curb 20 years now. This started 20 years ago. It didn't start today. I'm not blaming you for what's happened. I'm just suggesting that we need to put some emphasis on what we're talking about, making us feel like we're more attended to.
Right, but to put more roads in, that would take, you know, you'd have to take people's homes and properties away and hundreds of millions of dollars. And, you know, so we're looking for solutions. The county's looking for solutions, but it's not as easy as just saying, just put in some extra roads, because where are they going to go? I mean, I'm frustrated too. I'm in traffic every day. A lot of us are.
We continually point at the train running back and forth, and we're saying, oh, we got to get that train to go. The problem with the train is it doesn't get the landscapers where they're going, it doesn't get the electricians where they're going, the plumbers and everybody else. We need to figure out a way of keeping the trucks to stay on 27 and getting all the cars on other stuff, or creating a new road. I mean, I've suggested putting a bridge over the canal, and everybody looks at me, not canal, I'm sorry, over the inlet. Everybody goes, oh, you're crazy. All the rich people will sue you. Yeah, I know, the rich people will sue you. Who am I going to sue? Because all the cars are in my neighborhood now. Now, I'm just frustrated because I can't even get out of my road. I'm on Jones Road. My off street onto Mount Iowa's Jones Road. Can't even get off Jones Road sometimes. I have to take other routes. My wife has to go to Quag, go over the Quag Bridge, come back on Dune Road, and go to Hampton Bays, Quag Bridge, back to her office in order to make it there in a reasonable amount of time. It's just not good. It's a very untenable situation.
I mean, we talked about maybe having secured lots with cameras for the, you know, the tradespeople to leave their vehicles and here on the east side and then take the train. But that's
they can't
just
get
one
their
idea.
tools and materials from the train to the jobs.
No, they take the train to the secure facility where their truck is.
With materials and tools?
Yeah, and then they get in
On
the
the train.
truck.
I'm sorry, what am I missing?
Designated parking area where the tradesmen can park their vehicles.
Right.
Stores.
Emergency services, so you can't.
Well, on top of that, though, I have a truck filled with $10,000 worth of tools. I'm not going to leave it in a, you know, and I have multiple trucks. So my guys bring my trucks back to my office where it's stored overnight. It wouldn't be a situation where I would leave my truck somewhere else, because I don't even know at that particular day if I'm going out east or if I'm going west. I got stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it may be not a bad idea. One of the things that you could do is stop people from driving to job sites. What you don't maybe understand is that when you go to one of these big homes that's being out, there's 20,000 square foot houses that we're building out here, there's 40 or 50 individual cars.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. For people who are there either doing whatever work they're doing, but they drive their individual cars to the job site. Maybe that's not a tenable situation. Maybe we need to stop that. Maybe that's something that we can do. Create a lot somewhere in West Hampton Beach where we now have companies like mine who have a 15-passenger van. My guys, if I have 5 or more guys, go in a 15-passenger van and drive out to the job site. We need to start thinking about something out of the box, possibly
Some
something.
of the contractors already do that.
I'm sorry?
Some of the contractors already do that.
Not enough. When I go to a job site, this is my experience. Every day.
I watch
I go to a
it
job
all.
site, there's 40 cars packed to the gill everywhere on those job sites.
You need to call.
There's a traffic mitigation and task force meeting this Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea.
I'm sorry that this devolved into that. That's
Come
not what the
and talk
intention
about
was.
it, though.
But it's good. We learn. And Michael's up there. He's listening. He's ahead of it.
Anyway,
I think he's awake.
Really, this was supposed to be more about the East End Little League and the PAL. My apologies, but get a little heated.
But we care. That's why we're here.
No, I'm not saying you don't, and I apologize for suggesting you didn't care. Yeah. I'm saying I feel a little bit just neglected.
Frustrated.
A little bit, I suppose. Frustrated, neglected, maybe. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, Dave. Adam Ortiz.
Good evening, Councilman, Councilwoman, Supervisor. Good to see all of you. My name is Adam Ortiz. I live in Hampton Bays, New York, and I currently serve as a board member of the Hampton Bays Civic. I've met each one of you on previous occasions. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I'm not here as a member of the Civic, but I wanted to say that your town assessor, Lisa Gorey, did a wonderful job yesterday at the Hampton Bays Civic Association. She answered every question presented to her, and with regards to assessments, and she made it very clear, and I think that we all got the main message, that property assessments are going up based on sales, and this does not necessarily mean that taxes on individual homes will also increase. It totally depends on the tax rate, which is passed by all of you. So pretty simple to understand that. I would like to take a couple minutes talking about assessments and with regards to home and commercial properties. As you may know, the last time Southampton Town went through a town-wide reassessment, and I was here when that happened. I've been in Hampton Bays for a good amount of time. It was in 2004, and that was 20 years ago. And that's a full town-wide reassessment. Since then, small increases have occurred throughout the town. More recently, in 2017, we had a 5% increase in assessment. In 2018, we had another 5% increase in assessment. And in 2019, we received a 10% increase in assessments. COVID played a role in freezing assessments in 20 and 21, as all of you know. And in 2024, right now, most of our homes and commercial properties have now realized that we've been, I guess, a 10% assessment charge has been added to our assessment value. Again, we're not at 100% assessment. I believe Lisa mentioned we're at 63. So recognizing that we're still not at 100% full valuation. The 10% this year came to a surprise to many residents, including myself. But again,
what 10% are you talking about?
Well, when you look at the assessed values of homes, assessed values are proposed right now.
The freeze is still on.
Well, if you look at the reassessed values that was on your website, there's a 10% difference between last year and this year.
The total amount of the assessed value of all properties in the town of Southampton.
Right.
Which won't change your taxes because the tax rate.
Never mentioned taxes, just the assessed values in commercial and individual properties seem to be around 10% increases.
Yeah, that generally corresponds with a lower tax rate. So.
When that happens, yeah, that happens, exactly. So again, we're getting these small assessed values going up and up and up. And so there's one thing that I have a concern about as a homeowner. Not complaining about higher assessed values. I certainly recognize that based on what homes are selling for in Hampton Bays, there's a clear misalignment with assessed values. But I do have an issue with commercial properties who have not been asked by this town board to produce income expense statements with every reassessment. This year, the year 2004 was the last time the full Southampton town-wide reassessment was completed, which included commercial properties submitting income and expense statements. This also was the last time I saw a slice of pizza that cost $2. A half a gallon of milk was around $2. A carton of eggs was $1.50. 20 years later, what do we have now? Pizza's doubled, eggs have doubled, and milk pretty much has doubled. Bottom line is within every business, everything has increased in profits and maybe even expenses. Who knows? But we don't know. Expenses within our homes have also increased. Water, oil, gas, electricity have all experienced significant increases in 20 years. So clearly homeowners within the town of Southampton have paid more than their fair share for over 20 years as compared to commercial properties. Just for the simple fact that we have not asked for income and expense statements with regards to these businesses. And if our reality shows a doubling of prices within most services provided by commercial properties, it's only fair that Southampton Town homeowners request for the town board to begin discussing how businesses can pay their fair share. Find a way to request income and expense statements
3 minutes.
from commercial properties and also those who collect rent with second or third floor apartments. As you may know, in Hampton Bays, we're full of businesses that have apartments upstairs. In New York City, not only are income expense statements asked for, but also rent rolls are asked for. This is how it's handled. Homeowners have carried the weight for 20 years, and it's time for this board to work together with the assessor's office and support fairness across the board. So hopefully, we don't wait for the next townwide reassessment to ask for businesses to see what has changed in 20 years. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Kenny.
Good evening, Supervisor Moore, Town Board. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Many of you, if you don't know me, I'm Steve Kenny. I've actually, this was a home away from home for me for about 25 years.
You used to sit in this chair right here next to me.
Right there.
I was going to say, former councilman, you sat in this chair for many years.
Back in 2004, reassessment was something that we dealt with. It was a landmark project. I started, interestingly enough, in 1986 on the newly created Historic Preservation Board. Advanced to the Planning Board, and I was a member and the chair on that board for 7 years, and then spent 2 years on the town board, 2 terms rather on the town board, and finished up my service on the Housing Authority for a couple of years after leaving the town board. I have to tell you, the planning board experience taught me the most about good government and the process and practice of good government. I really learned a lot through SECRA about how you get best outcomes. SECRA is in place to encourage not only a public benefit, but to minimize the harm that goes with the seeking of public benefit. It's a process that values public hearings, engaging stakeholders, and let me say something about that. That is, and I'm sure you've had the same experience. The most humbling thing you can experience here on the town board is, thoroughly preparing a law or getting ready for a planning proposal, figuring out all the issues, trying to be as thorough as you can, having your staff do the same thing, being professional and proficient. And believe me, the staff here is wonderful when it comes to that. But no matter how hard you try, when you open it up to the stakeholders, and you know this, you find out things that you never thought of. And at the end of the day, the stakeholders add local knowledge to a project that makes that project at the end a better project. I'm here today as a citizen because I'm a stakeholder on a town project. In November, December last year, well, let me go back a little. Let me give you a little bit of a history here. I bought my home in Remsenburg in 1976. It had been recently subdivided and separated from the main, what we call the main house, which is a circa 1800 home. My house was actually the carriage house to that house. It had 5 garages at one point. 2 of those garages are now living space. 3 garages still exist. For the 4 families that owned that home on the time I've been there, it's almost 50 years now. That property was almost an extended family property because the first 2 owners had children who interacted with our children, and we didn't really. The property was kept together, in, was kept together in a fashion. In the with the 3rd owner, which became a bed and breakfast, we started to separate the property with landscaping to provide privacy. An amazing thing happened to our family in 23, last year in April. My daughter and our son-in-law was able to buy the house in front, and we were really excited with the process of being able to knit those properties together again, and we were excited about the prospect of, because at the time I was working with Bill Hine on a remodeling of my home, we were excited with the prospect of seeking historic designation, which goes back to my first experience in the town hall here. The town was actually very, a little after that happened in last fall, a neighbor approached me to get involved in a traffic calming committee. I was coaxed onto the committee because of my experience. The town was very responsive to that. There was a meeting that was scheduled almost immediately in January at the local school. Unfortunately, I was not able to be there, nor was my neighbor able to be there at the time. And when I came back in February, I discovered that that not only was the response quick to this traffic calming request, but I thought the solution was too quick. There was, and I don't want to get into the details about this because it really involves, again, sitting down with a map and discussing it. But my whole point is that I made a request in February to ask, and I'll just say this in general. I don't want to single out a department or any individual. I requested that we have another meeting of this committee because I thought that the proposal, didn't square with the reality of not only the Remsenburg post office situation, but also my daughter's home. I also reached out, as you do in these situations, to the Remsenburg Association, who also pursued an alternative plan and forwarded that plan to the town. Neither of us have heard back. I am now very concerned because I see two parts of the project have been completed. The sidewalk for the school, which is fine, which is great. The stop signs at Mill Road, which I think is a good thing because it makes it more difficult for that to be a bypass, the South Country Road to be a bypass. But there was no response to the alternatives that we proposed. And at this moment, my daughter's trees have all been marked for removal. Some of them are healthy.
That work's being done by PSEG, not the town.
Yeah, and in fact, I initiated that to begin with because there was a dead tree on the property, which, interesting enough, after I notified the town, it came down in a storm and took out the electricity. And we know there were some old trees there, but there were some new trees. Someone knocked on my daughter's door and said that they were going to remove all the trees and put a sidewalk in. Again, I don't know what the status is because no one has gotten back to us.
Well, I didn't go to the meeting in January. I wasn't able to, but I know Council Member Iacilli and Pell went. And it wasn't the town that initiated it. It was Remsenburg. It was at the school. So when you say you asked the committee to reconvene, it wasn't the town's committee that convened. You can speak to it better.
We did what they wanted.
Right?
They called for the meeting. We went. The highway superintendent went. And,
that's all well good.
I listened to why you talk.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We listened to what the people wanted there, and we that's what we try to do. We thought they were representing the neighborhood and everyone there. Yes, it affects your daughter's house. Yes, there was history there with the trees with LIPA. Okay. Yes, your daughter's trees is on the right of way of the town. Okay. Just if Dan's house, we were going to do it in front of Dan's house. If his trees were in the way, they would have to be trimmed. Same thing with if the trees were in the way of LIPA, they're going to be trimmed. Okay. We actually went up to the highway today to look at it again, to make sure we're doing the right thing. And
I mean, if we want to have another meeting, we can.
Yeah.
We can certainly have a meeting
Yeah.
if that's what you'd like to do. I mean, I think everybody's pleased with the sidewalks at the school
Absolutely.
and the stop signs and the flashing lights.
Absolutely.
And so it's just this, but part of the problem is the community, they represented that this was the will of the community to have a crosswalk put in for the post office and the academy, and then you can't just put in a crosswalk. The law says you have to have the sidewalks. And now the community seems to be saying, well, we don't really want that, but now you've made us aware that there's an issue with safety. So that's the problem. But if you want to have a meeting, we can have the highway superintendent come in and we can look at the plans again and see what can be done.
That's all I ask. absolutely understand, Bill, I really didn't want to step over you in making comments. My point is that our proposal did not include the placement of the crosswalk where it ended up. And I don't know whether that has changed because no one has gotten back to us. I wrote a letter and pointed out some of the difficulties of the location of the crosswalk where it was. And all I'm saying is, look, I've been in your situation. I know at the end of the day, we had a saying in the planning board, particularly when it dealt with developers versus neighbors. We did our job well if everyone went home unhappy. I'm not saying that there isn't a situation which I'm going to end up unhappy. But I do think it's important that the input of the Remsenburg Association, the neighbors, and the other thing that I think is missing in this discussion is the post office itself. It's not a federal property. I know it's a difficult situation. The property is actually leased by a local person. 10 years ago, the issue of the danger there at the post office didn't exist. Now people deliberately park on the street because they're afraid to back up into traffic. If that site plan came up today, the planning board would never approve the site plan that is there, allowing traffic to back up into the highway. So,
and that's what the highway department was told, that this is a dangerous situation.
And I think the stakeholders, my point is the stakeholders ought to be engaged. Maybe the post office or the owner of the property, definitely, myself and my daughter and the Remsenburg Association, the neighbors around.
But I thought all those people were present at the meeting in January. The
No.
Remsenburg Association.
Only Bob Pierce was able to be there. And the rest of us were, like many of us seniors, were in Florida at the time. When I came back in February, I asked to have another meeting so that we could discuss some of the local issues that the stakeholders could give more clarity on. And again, I have not heard back from anyone, nor has the Remsenburg Association with its proposal. So again, I'm not blaming anyone, but I just ask respectfully that we have a meeting where we can sort of hash out these issues. Okay? Thank you very much.
And so we'll have a meeting. Do you want to have another meeting like the one in January? I mean, I find it hard to believe Bob Pierce was the only person that was there. I mean, weren't there other people there from Remsenburg?
Well, there were other people from the town.
Philip Smythe was there.
Yeah.
A couple of
Oh yeah,
members
Philip
of the
Smythe.
there. There was an expressed interest of enhancing safety for the schools, and the students. So, I mean, I understand what is being said here, but I do think that part of what was expressed to Bill and I and the highway superintendent was that this was something that they came to the town with in previous efforts, and nothing had happened. And so they took action with the speed signs, the stop signs, and the sidewalk project to enhance safety, which that was expressed to us that this was something that the community had been asking for some time.
And we thank you for that. That is good. Just saying that this particular situation with the post office is unique. My daughter's front step is literally 10 feet from the property line. If a sidewalk is 10 feet from her front step, I'm afraid that, we might abandon the process of historic designation in order to protect our privacy in front of the home. And we really don't want to do that. Again, I come from historic preservation to begin with, and we would really, this is a project that my daughter's going to spend many years pulling together, and we're proud of it, and we want the property to be restored to what it was, and be something of pride in the community. But we're going to be negatively impacted, and if we can come up with a better solution, again, it's not a solution that necessarily I'm going to be happy with, but I think the discussion is worth having. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay. Then let us, the I think that's it. Is there any, Kevin, is there anyone online that wishes to be heard at the public portion? So I move to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's move forward with the resolutions.
Wake up.
Town Board Resolution 764 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli. This is the 2024-2025 home sales price and rental formula multipliers for units reserved for income-eligible households. This was tabled. We had a work session on this issue, on this resolution, rather.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 790 of 2024, accept an award, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, accept an award and authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents pertaining to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Invasive Species Grant Program 2023, Round 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-791, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to amend the authorization of the purchase of 8 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles from John Vance Motors, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-792, authorized change order with Terry Contract Interior for the Elroy Creek Enchantment Project.
Second.
Second, and can I be listed as co-sponsor, Madam Clerk?
Either.
This clarifies the billing issue, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2024-793, authorized purchase of Rockland County contract with East Coast Emergency Lighting.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-794, authorized supervisor to sign contract with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Surveyor, DPC, to provide survey, design, permit, and service in relating to the proposed drainage improvement for Forster Avenue and Lighthouse Road in Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-795, authorized supervisor to sign contract with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey of DPC, to provide survey, design, permit, and service in relating to the shoreline stabilization and drainage improvement at Royal Avenue in Avenue North in Flanders.
Second.
All
That's
in
what's really
favor?
needed.
Aye.
Mm.
Town Board Resolution 2024-796, authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with Riverhead Community Awareness Program to provide funding for the Southampton Youth Summer Soccer Clinic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 797 of 2024, authorize the supervisor to sign the Community Development Block Grant Public Service Group contract for fiscal year 2023.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This was also co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli.
Town Board Resolution 2024-798, co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, authorizing the supervisor to sign 2024 Hand Alders Post number 194, Hampton Bays American Legion Inc. Community Program Grant. This will help toward some renovations of the Legion building.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-799, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, to authorize the purchase of automotive parts and accessories for light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles and related products and services from Omnia Partners contract with Advanced Auto Parts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-800, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Eileen Keenan for part-time program coordinator for the Peconic Estuary Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-801, to authorize the supervisor to execute any and all documents pertaining to grants from New York State.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 2024-802, also co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorized supervisor to sign a no-cost contract extended for award of Community Preservation Fund 20% Water Quality Improvement Project Fund for the Village of Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-803, authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents with Andrews Technology HMS Inc. for UKG web-based time and attendance software.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-804 to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with KM Printing LLC doing business as Strategic Factory for town-wide printing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-805, co-sponsored with by council members Iacilli and McNamara, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with South Shore Docks, Inc. for construction equipment and marina maintenance services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-806, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract for street sign blanks and reflector sheets for the traffic marking tape.
Second.
And yes,
Okay.
Madam Supervisor. You just remind me that I have to recall this.
Call the vote?
No,
Amend.
recall the-
Motion to amend.
Town Board Resolution 2024.
I'm sorry, I don't
What are we
understand what
doing?
we're doing.
I'm going to call and amend this motion.
The next one,
The next one or this one?
what? It's,
So we're voting on this one first.
yes.
Yes,
What?
I have 807 that you're going to amend.
that's what I'm doing now.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
we
haven't
didn't vote
voted on
806.
this
Okay.
yet.
Go
We
ahead.
didn't?
You're too fast.
806, we need to vote on.
Yes.
Okay.
Who
Yes.
Did someone second it?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
Michael,
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Iacilli seconded, but there was no vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
2024-807, I'd like to have a motion to amend on the floor. Award, authorize supervisor to sign contract with,
Second your motion to amend.
yes,
Do you want to say how to amend it?
yes.
All right. What? Yeah, something went wrong with the
Yeah, first I should say this.
printing.
Authorize, award and authorize the supervisor to sign contract with BB&S Architect and Landscape Architect Engineer for professional service architect and engineer design for service for the West Hampton Activity Center, which we've been waiting a long time. And it said, resolve the base of recommend the review committee of the town of Southampton, hereby awards professional architect, engineer, design service of service for the West Hampton Activity Center. That's gonna be put in,
Sunday, do you have the changes?
Mhm.
Okay.
yes,
All right, yeah, the first resolved.
first resolve.
It's written down.
Yes.
That's why I'm not
Okay.
panicking over it.
Yeah, I'm not-
So,
They did it
on the
What-
motion to
what's the change?
amend,
We have that.
Sunday has them.
Yes.
Sunday have it.
so on the motion to amend, do you
I
second
seconded
it?
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then on the motion
I'm
as
sorry.
amended,
What am I voting on?
I second.
Well, they
Same
voted on
second.
to amend that
You can't-
language.
you can't
because
second
it's
your own
City
second.
Park.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you. Where you been?
Okay.
Or the activity center, rather. So now they're gonna vote.
So
on
we
the
just
amended.
did, so
We did-
Yes.
So Pell moved, I did the same second.
on the motion to amend, and
Yes.
then also on the
Okay.
motion itself, the
Okay, we
resolution.
got it.
And this
All in
is,
favor?
Aye.
this is for the West Hampton Activity Center,
No, Sunday has it.
What I call the community.
Community Center,
You see where it is?
which we're all very excited for.
Yes, I can't wait to get the design,
Yes.
share with the community.
2024-808, co-sponsored with Councilman
Mac,
McMack.
Mac.
Recall amend resolution 2024-189, signed contract for furnish and delivery of assorted oil lubrication grease with Lubrinet West Hampton Auto Supply and Grade A Petroleum Corp.
Second, I'm glad you had to
Oh.
read that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh, I
Your
missed
turn.
one. Here it is. Town Board Resolution 2024-809 to recall and amend resolution number 2024-592 authorizing the purchase of Motorola radios from Integrated Wireless Technologies LLC using the New York State OGS contract with Motorola Solutions, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 810 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Parks Director to enter into interim agreements for mobile concessions pursuant to Town Code 111-7B2 for 2024 season at Red Creek Park.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-811 to accept development period payment from Kearsarge Energy Limited Partnership and amend 2024-2028 capital budget for sustainable infrastructure project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-812 to accept reimbursement for insurance recoveries and to amend the 2024 adopted budget for the Parks Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-813 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for the Highway Department part-time salaries.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-815 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for nutrition programs.
Second.
Second, and if I could be added as a co-sponsor, Madam Clerk.
Nope.
That was 1-5.
Sunday, I missed one.
Yes, I noticed that.
Town Board Resolution 2024-814 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for part-time salaries in the supervisor's office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Town Board Resolution 2024-816 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget based on the debt reduction policy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a good program.
Town Board Resolution 2024-817 to amend the 2024-2028 capital program and add capital project West Hampton Transfer Station improvements, which will remove the accessible ramps,
construct a new speed table, and install a new waste oil tank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Some of it has been done already.
That's right. Town Board Resolution 2024-818 to authorize the supervisor to sign a statement of annual financial and operating information and file with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 819 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton Bays Fire Department Parade on July 31st, 2024 from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 820 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for Hampton Bays Fire Department Carnival from July 30th to August 4th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 821 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the North Sea Fire Department Annual Carnival from July 2nd through July 6th, 2024, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-822, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, to authorize the waiver of parks and recreation fees for the Escola de Samba Boom.
Second.
On the motion? I just want to bring it to your attention that there is still no insurance certificate for this. And, you know, I received a correspondence from Jay Schneiderman asking me if I had an issue with the Samba group. My answer is no, I don't have an issue with the Samba group. I have an issue with giving 20 parking passes to non-residents for these events. I have a problem with the fact that this has apparently been done for years.
So wait, the non-residents are the performers?
The non-residents are the performers. We have, just for instance, we have a volleyball league in Hampton Bays that pays money to play, and they have insurance to play.
Also, the divers who dive at Ponquod Bridge.
And I just want to ask the question. So if I am a long-standing surfer in the town of Southampton, and I live in the town of Southampton, and I give free surfing lessons, and I have clinics, and I help people out, and I move to another town, can I come back to the town and get a free parking pass as a non-resident to use the beach because I've always done it, you know? And to me, to say you've always done it is not a good enough reason.
Well, wait, wouldn't this be a dashboard pass just for the date of the...
It's for the date of their, it's a pass for them to go to the beach
that night,
every Monday night in the entire summer.
Plus, they're not cleaning up the garbage. As a
Yes.
trustee, we had a tremendous amount of complaints about the garbage down there because the cats get into it. And this is why I'm not really supporting this.
I asked about
until-
the garbage. Excuse me, Councilman.
That's
Go on.
okay. Forgiven. They have to take care of the garbage. They have to have insurance just like anyone else. And it's fair for one person, it's fair for everyone.
There are Sag Harbor Village residents that happen to live in the town of East Hampton that would like to go to Long Beach to watch the sunset. They're not charging anything. They've done it before and they can't do it anymore. So I'm not.
But these people are performing, right?
They're performing, yes.
Practicing.
But I'm not against what they're doing. I am against setting a precedent for other groups and how we carry this forward with other groups wanting to do things at town facilities and getting parking passes when they're not residents.
Okay, well, I didn't think it was a parking pass. I thought it was a dashboard permit
It
for
is.
the
It
date
is.
and hours of the performance.
Right.
Every
It is.
Monday night for
And,
the entire summer.
if I could chime in here, this has been happening. The Samba group has been practicing down there for the better part of 2 decades. This is not new. This has been occurring at Sag Main Beach, and in fact, this requirement did not come into effect until you became the liaison and said no more. So we're bringing it to the town board and saying, okay, 20 parking permits, and we're going to do the waiver because we were going to deny them access to the beach, and
No.
so
This was always a requirement.
so this was and this was put forward, by the numbers were put forward by our director of parks, and so the question is, whether or not we want to give the waiver, for something that has been happening here for many years.
When he was supervisor, this parking requirement has always been in place. It came to my attention when I became liaison as to how did this town board want to handle it, because when he was Supervisor Schneiderman simply gave these parking passes out at his direction. It never came to this board to waive fees for these events. So the town has lost $2,200
And so
by default
what
every
happened
year that Jay
before-
decided not to bring it to this board.
And what happened before he was supervisor?
I don't know.
So I mean, this is something that
I can only control what happens on my watch, and this is the first time it was brought to my attention, which I find troubling.
As far as the garbage, the pictures that were given to me were pictures of garbage that was piled kind of near and neatly around garbage receptacles that were full. People do the right thing. Now, of course, people are people, and they don't always do the right thing, like all of our beaches. So we have a motion and a second.
And
Any
waiving
other?
fees is one thing, but giving a permit to a group that doesn't have insurance, I would like to know the town's
And-
liability on
and
that,
also-
because we've never given a facility use permit to a group without an insurance certificate.
And so,
Yeah. Oh,
go ahead, Michael.
Thank you. I just have 2 questions. Has the Parks Director weighed into this at all?
The Parks Director put it to us because she came to me because the request was made, and in previous years, the former supervisor handed out the parking permits. There was no facility use permit. I requested that it be done correctly, and if somebody on this board wanted to waive the fees, then they could, as they have, bring it forward. But I don't support waiving the fees for a group that is uninsured and is non-resident and
It's-
not a non-for-profit.
So my second question then is to council. Is there an issue here? Have we not done this before?
with the insurance, you mean? Without insurance?
With this particular, this is the first
can't
time
get
since
insurance.
I've
It
been here
is
that
for
this application's
parking.
come before.
It is for parking. They have been
Yeah.
using this beach for, like I said, over a decade and a half.
It's for a gathering, and when you have a gathering, you have to have a permit to gather. Especially on the beach,
I believe they now need a trustee permit as well.
yes. Trustees, anything over, I think 35 people, you need a permit.
So
To
they're
answer whether they
applying
need
for the
insurance,
permit
Mike,
and they're
I'd have to
asking
know
us to
more
waive.
about the specifics of the application. I haven't seen an application. I don't know exactly what they're looking for, whether it's the resolution talks about a permit and waiver for attending the beach, but
Maybe we should
now we're talking
table
about
it.
parking
It is
passes, I'm not
for-
really sure what.
Parking permits on that evening
Yeah.
for members of the group. That's a community group that performs in parades and does all kinds of fundraisers and things and is part of the community.
That are non-residents. That's why
It's
they need parking
non-paying.
permits.
They don't charge money.
Right.
They just go to the
The
beach
volleyball
and
league
drown.
only charges money to cover their costs of
Well,
using the beach.
perhaps
so-
we should consider doing the same thing for the volleyball league. but it would be a different issue.
But this is my question. Where do you draw the line? Where do you stop collecting fees? Where do you stop requiring insurance? When is insurance required and when is it not? If you're a league, it's required. If you're a performing group, it's not. I don't see the difference. You're using the beach. They get hurt on the beach and they have a permit to use the beach. Who is liable?
Well, I would. You could say that to anybody who uses the beach.
I'm not,
Who is
no,
liable?
This is
It's
we're
our
issuing,
beach.
We're
I mean,
issuing
somebody
a
gets
special,
hurt at a
we're
beach, any of
issuing a
them,
facility
we're all
use permit.
involved. Excuse me, I thought I was talking. Anyone who gets hurt on our beaches and in our facilities, I mean, who's liable? It's going to be the town. But in this particular instance, it is, parking permits. And so we're considering waiving $2,200 of parking permits.
It's really
so that the drum circle can drum at Sagmain
It's
Beach.
not. I have a breakdown of the fees. It's not parking permits. It is different fees for the nights on
Parking
which parking
waivers.
permits are not required, and it is a different fee on the nights that it is required.
That's right, and
There's a
it's
difference.
broken down by $100 for the nights that it's not required, $200 at the nights that they are
So it's not
required,
just parking
equaling $2,200 of waived fees.
Plus, it's non-residents. If it was residents,
And
maybe,
anybody who, I'm sorry,
but non-residents, I don't think so.
I just want things to
well,
be fair
anyone
for
who
everyone.
goes needs a sticker to park in that parking lot. This is just the people practicing in the drum group.
So it's not the activity that's being permitted here, it's the parking that's being permitted. Is that what you?
No, it's
so-
a facility use permit for 1 to 49 people.
What do you want to do?
There's 50
How many?
people in this group,
Oh.
and 20 of them are not residents in the parking.
If somebody was a non-resident, wanted to use the parking lot.
If
we
that.
give them the pass, just for that time.
It's taxpayer money. If you want to waive it, you waive it.
It's taxpayer money?
It is. And it's lost revenue to the town.
Oh. That we've never collected.
Yeah,
In
that we
almost
never had a
20
say
years.
in collecting.
In almost 20 years. A number of different boards. We can't just pin this on
I'm
one
saying
person,
in
and
the
that's
time
wrong
that
to
I've
do
been,
that.
I can only speak to the time
So-
that I am on this board. It was never brought to the board to waive any of these fees. So,
Well, I
it's
mean,
just
we
done
do.
at the supervisor's discretion.
We do waive fees for a lot of
Non-for-profit
events.
groups, yes.
But this
This is
group,
not a 501c3.
but they're not
not-for-profit.
charging any funds, right? They're not charging people to
So-
come and watch
Right.
them.
No, so if I go and I have a yoga class for free, can I use the beach for free and have a yoga class?
So this is one of our easternmost
If you don't
beaches.
charge for it,
It's
you
it's a
can.
it's a community that spreads over the towns.
I'm not,
you know.
again, I
And
have no issue with the
Councilwoman,
group.
may I finish my sentence, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good. So I'm supporting the drum circle at Sagmain Beach. I think that they have done this. We have past practice on this, if you will, and we're talking about the parking, not the individuals. The parking and an event that people of the town enjoy, because anybody who goes to see that has to have a parking permit, either resident or they're paying the non-resident fee. So it's something that people enjoy. So
Again, just
we have a
clarifying.
motion and a second.
I have no issue with the group. I have an issue
You're,
with
you're
waiving the fees
asking
and
them to
setting a
become
precedent.
a not-for-profit, and
I'm asking that they have insurance and that we not waive the fees for a group that's not a 501c3. Not done. Every other group that has a facility use permit that we waive the fees for is a certified 501c3, not-for-profit.
so we would be telling them no and denying them access to the beach
No, they
for the
can
rest
buy,
of the
they can
summer.
buy they can buy non-permit parking passes and not non-resident parking passes like any other non-resident that wants to use our beaches has to do. I would love to go to Dune Beach
It
in
is an
Southampton
event,
Village. I can't.
but you know what? I don't want. Yeah, okay.
I'm just wondering about the insurance. Are they able to get insurance? Could we make
I
this
don't know. It wasn't
subject
part
to
of
insurance?
part of the resolution from Parks
Yeah.
Director.
Are we sure that the insurance is needed?
Right,
I mean,
we're not sure.
I mean, I like, is the park director here? Didn't she waive the fees in the past?
No.
I'm just a little unsure how the
Never
process
came
was
before, is what you're
conveyed,
saying.
how the past process was conveyed as to what we're doing. I get it,
Maybe we should, Mike, maybe we should table it to find out the past practice, how many years it's been doing it. Some people say 10 years, some people say 20 years. Exactly see how it got to be this year.
Well, this has been happening in the town for a long time, the drug circle, has it not?
It has.
Yeah. Yes, but exactly how, you know.
More than
a
8
little-
years.
I'm sorry, I'm just unsure what I get, some of the outlying questions, but if this has been done in the past,
So
I'm just unsure what the stumbling block is.
So Michael, I can answer part of your question. There used to be day passes issued for the beach. For a long time, you didn't need them during the time that they practiced, and then they changed it to where you did need permits during this time. After they did that, the beach was selling day permits, so you could go there and for $20 you could get a day pass. The amount of people at the beach and the parking overflowed and the garbage overflowed, they stopped issuing day passes on Mondays at Sag Main Beach to try to control the number of people that went to this event. So they no longer sell day passes on Monday to try to control the number of people and keep it to residents.
But were the performers required to purchase day passes
Yes,
in order
when
to
there was day
perform?
passes, they did have to purchase a day pass to park in the lot.
So they should buy, they should have parking
I
permit
was
and have
told.
insurance. Two things.
Well, this is an event that our residents participate in and they enjoy, and I would like to see it move forward this summer.
And it's already June.
Hmm?
It's already the end of June.
It's already the end of June. That's why we're putting this forward.
It seems to me, from what I know, and I haven't seen the facilities application, but I would say that this is more an issue about whether you want to waive the parking pass. I don't know that a group of people gathered to play drums needs insurance, unless there's something specific that's in the application. That
I mean,
Why,
it's
would
almost,
why do you need it to play volleyball?
it's almost free speech to
Yeah.
just sit on the beach
Well,
and play your
but
drum.
but that's a little different. You're running a league, right? And you're actually requesting a facility use permit.
That's what they have. That's what they've requested is a facility use permit.
Yeah.
The first time.
It's the first time because I asked that it be done the right way.
But if they bought parking permits, they probably wouldn't apply for any facility use permits, right? I mean, they would just come in just like anybody else. If they want to play drums, they play drums.
So, in other words, I can call if I have 10 friends who play a drum, a guitar, a trumpet, and everything. Have a nice little band. Let's meet down at Concord, okay? And we give a concert for free. He plays something, maybe he can come, and with no insurance, and also you have 10,000 people gather, like this happened. You know, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's a
matter of skill, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying you could have
horrible.
a couple hundred people.
I don't think, all right,
kinda
based
cool.
on what Jim's
Yeah.
saying, what Jim's saying, I don't think we need the insurance. 'Cause
I
they
mean,
could just go
no,
to
unless
the
there's
beach
something else in there.
and play the
I
drum.
think it's either one or the other, right? I mean, and I don't think they're gonna if they're gonna buy the parking passes, they're gonna come there and they're gonna play their little drums and walk, and
It's
go in a
organized.
circle. I've seen it one night. That's kind of what I observed one time, but I don't think that activity. I could talk to Kristen and review any application whether we think, and I could run it past our insurance consultant as well if I think we need it. But I think this sounds more like it's an issue of whether you want to waive parking.
I have more of an issue that the past supervisor was just giving out parking passes.
Although this is
without
just
talking
the
to the board
dashboard
about
permit.
For every night in the every Monday night in the summer. So more than a dash permit for a night.
Yeah.
I don't have a dash permit to use to go to the beach. I have to buy a sticker.
Get a drum.
And that was told.
That was a bad
Councilwoman,
joke.
that was told to you by the director of parks because I have no knowledge of that.
What?
That the former supervisor was giving out. I mean,
He was requesting the parking permits and
And-
from the
and
parking
giving out
department,
dash-
and he was
I mean-
given the parking permits for the events. Yes. There was no facility use permit. He was simply requesting parking permits.
well. And before that, was the
Before that,
previous
there were day
supervisor
passes.
doing that?
That's why we have to
No.
really look, see where the day passes started. Stop, I
Well-
should say.
I think they should pay something.
Now, we have something in front of us, and we have a motion and a second, and we should consider this vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this as a, just waiving the fee for parking, a parking permit in the dashboard. I mean, I can say in West Hampton Beach in the village, people can ask for a permit to use the parking lot if they're having, a gathering, and doesn't have to be a resident, and then they pay a fee to use the parking lot. So,
Pay a fee.
but here, this is for the community benefit because they are providing this. Apparently, the people love to listen to it.
And in West Hampton, they're doing a community benefit too. They're both doing a community benefit, and one's paying, one's not paying.
No, it's not. If it's a private person wanted to have a parking for a party at their home or something.
Okay. I thought it was up at Park Center there in West Hampton. Excuse me.
All right, well, let's vote.
What are the enforced parking?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
I said aye.
Motion carries 3-2.
And the drums go on.
Drums go on.
Yep. I'm going to have to go watch this here. I have never
Get
seen
a
it.
sticker.
Again, no problem with the drumming group. Problem
What's
with the fees.
Fees.
Town Board Resolution 823 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli and Scavone. Cost reimbursement waiver for the iTries Hamptons Youth Triathlon on July 13th, 2024, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and practices on July 2nd, July 8th, and July 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 824 of 2024, designate additional parking spaces for military and veterans.
Second.
All in favor?
On the motion, I have a question for the sponsor. How many additional parking spaces to the 5 that we created
We
in
have
2020?
not identified how many.
So,
But it won't be more than one per parking lot, you were suggesting?
This is at the discretion of the Parks Department and and Tom Houghton, who are looking at the facilities that we have. It may be 1, it may be none, it may be 5, I don't know. But they are looking at it to see when and where it's appropriate, and this keeps us from having to issue a resolution every time they want to add. For instance, they just added one at Good Ground Park, so.
does this include, and just for the record, I completely support parking spaces for our veterans. Does this include town beaches?
At the discretion of the Parks Director.
Okay, thank you.
Add something specific in this, Cindy, to indicate the goal, or, I mean, I'm supportive, I seconded it. I'm ready to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, it's just if
a little more
we
information.
add facilities, we would have to do a resolution every time that one is proposed. This was just the easier way to do it. If you want to do it space by space, we can certainly do that.
You know what else we could do? We could do up to 5, or
We might not even get to 5. I don't know.
That means that they can't say 10. They can only go up to 5.
Well,
one
it says 5, but up to 5.
5 is that we've
Okay,
already
up to
done.
5. It's already there, so that's fine.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
No, 5 were created.
Yeah, 5 was everything.
5 were created and they were identified. And,
Yeah.
But
If you're going to put more in any one space, it should be no more than 5 in one space.
Well, they're not. I don't think any place has more than one. Town Hall, I believe, has 2.
2.
We're the only place. There's one in the front and one in the back.
Okay.
Lowe's has a few.
It's totally up to you.
I'm
It's a
fine.
little
I just-
vague, but we can let them use
It's at
their
their, I
discretion.
don't think
Yeah.
Kristen Doulos is gonna say put 15 veteran parking spaces at Concord Beach. I just don't see her doing that. I mean, these are people that we trust to make much bigger decisions.
But these are not in lieu of the parking pass.
No.
Did you say
It's
good
just
park
like
also?
preferential.
Yes.
Yeah. Saying thank you.
Yes.
They get the veterans get them
Yes.
for free.
So they're just looking to get a parking space that's closer to the entrance, because some of them are,
Mm-hmm.
Can't
have
walk
Your
to.
Korean War vet
Purple
doesn't have to,
Hearts,
like,
they have
walk.
wounds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 825 of 2024, co-sponsor with Councilwoman McNamara, accept the maintenance bond in connection with the Southampton Farm Supply LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-827 to accept the retirement of Constance Conway, Legislative Secretary in CTV.
Second.
I just want to say, Connie was responsible for all the interesting programming on Sun TV, and she's offered to assist in the transition, and we're thankful to her for that and for her dedicated service to the town for the past 8 years. All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Thank you, Connie.
Oh, Town Board Resolution 2024-828 to accept the resignation of Tina Jambensky, account clerk in the Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-829 to appoint Manolo Espana to the Justice Court Clerk Spanish-speaking position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-830 to rescind Resolution 2024-772.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-831, co-sponsored with Council Members McNamara and Scavone. Notice of public hearing on the acquisition of 356 Head of Pond Road in the hamlet of Watermill, and to amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and Community Preservation Management and Stewardship Plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that public hearing will be on July 9th. Town Board Resolution 2024-832, co-sponsored by Council Members McNamara and Scavone, to schedule a notice of public hearing on the acquisition of 374 Head of Pond Road in the hamlet of Watermill, and to amend the Community Preservation Project Plan and Community Preservation Management and Stewardship Plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that will also be on July 9th.
2024-833, resolution setting public hearing to consider the entertainment season parking restriction on Mount Laurel Lane, Tuckahoe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Bill,
Aye.
could you have somebody come and present this to us just to explain
Yes.
what it's about? Thank you.
Yes.
Town Board Resolution 834 of 2024, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore. A notice of public hearing to accept a grant of conservation easement from 1030 Noyak Path LLC on a property located at Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-35-2-37.4, pursuant to Southampton Town Code, Section 244-4, obtaining a development right certificate, and Section 247, General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 835 of 2024, also co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore. Notice of public hearing to accept a deed of residual fee from Joseph F. Gaza for properties to be maintained as open space located at North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-63-4-44 and 900-78.1-1-36, pursuant to Southampton Town Code, Section 244-4, obtaining a development rights certificate, and Section 247, General Municipal Law of the State of New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And both of those public hearings will be on July 23rd. And then we have the 3 walk-on resolutions. Town Board Resolution ID number 46796 to authorize town facilities to close to the public on July 5th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46805 for the warrant number 12, capital number 12, CPF number 12, dated June 25th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the third,
Can we amend this to change the date to July 23rd?
Yes.
I got that, the
Oh,
okay on that
July
from Janice.
23rd.
What are you changing?
We're changing July 9th to 2024 at 1 p.m. to July 23rd at 6 p.m. So that both best hearings.
Coordinate with the
okay,
exception,
so
exemption application.
I move to amend Town Board Resolution ID number 46808 to change the date of the public hearing from July 9th, 2024 at 1 p.m. to July 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 46808 as amended, notice of public hearing to consider extending Southampton Town Code Chapter 314 entitled Moratorium on Battery Energy Storage Systems by amending Section 314-4 entitled Moratorium Period to extend for another 6-month period.
Same second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, that's it. That was a lively meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Move to close.
Democracy in action.
Second.
Wait,
All in,
you forgot to exit if anything's up.
is anything else you'd like to speak about at
Yes.
5 to 9
You
p.m.?
don't
Yes, the sound system in this room is really bad. I got a text from someone who was sitting out there and they were complaining about it the whole time.
There
And
is
the
some
lack of
feedback here.
The lack of air in this room is embarrassing for people to come and sit here.
It is warm.
Also, you had
That was one.
2 screens up
Go
on
on.
the
It-
Zoom that were duplicative.
Yeah,
So
this-
the
yeah.
applicant was on twice in two boxes, and the town board, I think,
And
was
it's-
also
and it's
on
humming
2
right now.
boxes that were in the right-hand corner
Yeah.
of the screen. So
Yeah.
maybe
We-
we need to look a little closer when we're
Yes.
filming these things.
We are going to look into that tomorrow
I surely
morning.
hope so, because they hear me talking, so they're gonna be, I don't have to email.
I want to go eat.
All right, so
Dinner
I
time,
move,
sign off.
I don't know where we were, but I
Still
moved
in?
to close
I
the
second.
meeting.
Second,
Cindy, second.
thank you,
in favor?
everyone.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.